Welcome to HOJO Radio.
Hey, where do you live now, Flo?
I live in Idaho.
And what do you eat now, Flo?
Eat? I eat Jell-O.
Jell-O in those 6 delicious flavors: strawberry, raspberry, cherry, orange, lemon, and lime.
Jell-O, 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 Jell-O. J-E-L-L-O.
Be sure to listen next week when our guest will be Bing Crosby. Until next Thursday, good night and good luck from the makers of Maxwell House, America's #1 preferred brand of coffee.
Cavalcade of America. This evening's story in the Cavalcade of America, presented by DuPont, deals with one of the commonest conveniences that our civilization knows, the bridge. As we pass swiftly over bridges in automobiles or trains, we seldom give them a thought. But like many other things we use, the modern bridge was possible only through the development of science and engineering. And chemistry played a big part in the improvement of steel, in the explosives necessary to mine the ore and to blast a secure footing for the deep foundations, and in the very paint that protects the mighty girders from the elements. Thus, every bridge stands as practical evidence of the phrase which guides DuPont chemists: better things for better living through chemistry. The DuPont Cavalcade Orchestra sets the stage for these episodes on bridge building with Father of Waters from Ferdy Groffe's Mississippi Suite, followed by a new arrangement of the classic spiritual Deep River. 300 years of settlement and pioneering, America looked upon her rivers as her finest highways. They played a mighty role in winning a wild and rugged land, but their very width and depth and swiftness made them barriers as well. They divided cities and states and long defied the ingenuity of man. Today, even the mightiest have been spanned by broad highways of stone and steel and cable. But less than 100 years ago, the very thought of such a feat was confined to the minds of dreamers. Certainly no such thoughts occur to a ferryman and his assistant as they huddle around a glowing stove in a shack on the banks of the Hudson one stormy winter night of the year 1841.
Listen to that wind, Jamie.
Aye. A fine night it is to be close by a hot stove.
Stow in another piece of driftwood, lad.
Aye, sir. I don't recall ever seeing the river so full of ice.
Well, I've seen it frozen solid, with teams driving across to Jersey.
Well, at least folks could get across. But there ain't been a boat crossed this week.
I hear tell 2 men tried it in a skiff down river a ways.
Aye? What happened to them?
The ice cakes crushed the skiff to kindling. The last that was seen of the men, they was drifting down to sea on the ice.
Did they make it to shore?
Not so far as anybody knows. The Hudson's in an ugly mood these days.
Listen. Now, who do you suppose to be tearing down to the ferry with a coach on a night the like of this?
Sounds like they're in a big hurry.
I'll see who it is.
Come in, sir. Come in. I'd like to see the ferrymaster. Is he here?
I be he. Come in before you have us blown in the river.
Thank you. It is a bad night.
It is that. What can I do for you, sir?
I'm Stephen Adams of Boston. I come all the way by the fastest coach.
From Boston? That's a wearing journey in such weather.
Yes, but I'm not stopping here. I must be in Philadelphia by high noon tomorrow.
Now, that's what I'd call unfortunate, Mr. Adams.
Why unfortunate? With fresh relays of horses, I can easily make it once I'm across the Hudson.
Aye, once you're across the Hudson. But you'll find no man that'll take you this night, sir.
Nonsense. I'll pay you double the usual fee.
Not for all the gold in New England, sir.
But I must get across. It's a matter of life and death.
Perhaps. But mark the grinding of the ice. It'd be but a matter of death to take a boat into those floes.
I've no time for quibbling. I'll pay you 3 times the fare.
Not for 10 times 3.
Oh, so you're afraid?
You cannot bait me with the name of coward, Mr. Adams. I've lived long enough to mark the difference twixt folly and courage.
Oh, if there were only a bridge.
That's an idle wish for something that'll never be, sir.
Well, ice or no ice, I'll find a ferryman to take me across tonight. Needless to say, the traveler from Boston did not cross the Hudson that night. But his taste was a sign of the quickening pace of American life. Iron bridges could and had been built, but such bridges blocked the traffic of the rivers themselves. Higher and longer bridges had to be built. And in that same year of 1841, the means was found to build them. Strangely enough, the discovery had nothing to do with rivers or bridges. The occasion was a meeting of the officials of the Allegheny Portage Canal at Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. A series of accidents at the mountain portage of the Philadelphia-Pittsburgh Canal was being investigated. And while waiting to be called before the committee, a young engineer by the name of John A. Roebling talks with a friend in an anteroom.
It certainly is good to see you, John.
But what brings you to Harrisburg? I've been called down here to testify before the canal board.
But surely they're not holding you responsible for the trouble they're having at the portage?
No, nothing like that. The board is ready to hear your plan, Mr. Roebling. Oh, excuse me, Nathan. I'll see you a little later.
Good luck, John.
Thanks, I'll need it.
Right in here, sir.
Fine.
John A. Roebling of the Pennsylvania State Engineering Department.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir. I understand you have some plan whereby the recent accidents at the canal portage can be avoided. We have had many suggestions, none of which have been of the slightest value. So I will appreciate it if you will make your remarks brief and to the point.
Well, gentlemen, I'm an engineer, not an orator. I haven't come to make a speech.
Very well, proceed.
Your problem, gentlemen,
is to put an end to the costly tie-ups at the Allegheny Portage.
That's hardly news to us, young man.
Every time a hauling rope breaks, a barge is wrecked and canal traffic is halted for days.
Your plan, young man, your plan.
The hauling ropes are not strong enough for such heavy-duty work.
That is being remedied. We're about to order 5-inch Kentucky hemp hawsers to replace the 3-inch ones now in use.
No rope hawser ever made will stand the wear and tear of that haul, gentlemen.
That remains to be seen.
Meanwhile, you'll lose thousands of dollars in freightage.
Perhaps you have a better suggestion.
I have, sir. In this carpet bag. Here it is. A wire cable.
Wire? Preposterous. Why, it's unheard of.
Young man, you're wasting our time. When 3-inch hemp breaks like a piece of string, what would happen to this stuff you call wire cable?
Why, it's no thicker than my little finger. I'll warrant it wouldn't hold a half-grown calf.
Gentlemen, I've tested this wire cable. It has 5 times the strength and durability of the finest hemp rope ever made, and I'll prove it to you. Engineer John A. Roebling won his point. Tests verified the truth of his statement, and he secured orders for the Allegheny Portage cable. He returned to his hometown of Saxonburg, Pennsylvania, and started the first wire cable factory in America. The new industry prospered and was later moved to Trenton, New Jersey. Roebling was a bridge engineer, and he applied his wire cables to the principle of suspension bridges, which had heretofore been limited to the use of chains. The growing railroads were clamoring for bridges across the nation's greatest rivers. Roebling built them across the Monongahela, Niagara Gorge, the Ohio at Cincinnati. Longer and longer he built his giant spans until at last he was commissioned to build the greatest structure of his long career, the Brooklyn Bridge. It is the spring of 1869. John A. Roebling, now a man of 63, is inspecting the site of the new bridge. His son and partner, Washington Augustus Roebling, stands with him on a ferry slip on the Brooklyn waterfront, viewing the mammoth project now underway.
Well, Father, at last we're ready to break ground for the towers.
Now, the work should have been started a year ago. Confound these meddling officials with their endless delays.
It's worth waiting for. The longest suspension bridge in the world.
How soon will they have the houses torn down for the approaches?
They'll be out of the way by the time we're ready to sink the cable anchors.
Well, they'd better be.
Hey, we better get off these pilings, Father. The ferry from New York is coming into this slip.
Oh, nonsense. Let it come. They seem to be doing quite a business.
The ferry people don't like the idea of the bridge being built there.
Well, I shouldn't wonder. The bridge will put them out of business.
Yeah, I think the captain is waving us to get off the pilings.
We'll do nothing of the kind.
Get off of there! You want to be knocked in the river?
Tend to your business, Captain, and we'll tend to ours.
Well, the tide is carrying the ferry into the pilings.
Stay here. We've sightings for me.
Look out!
Wash! What's wrong, Father?
My foot, it's caught between the pilings.
All right, here. I'll hold you up.
Strike your ferry away, Captain! What do you think I'm doing?
Now, steady, Father. Steady. There. There, the pilings are spreading. There, come on.
Help me down to the pier. I'm afraid my foot is crushed.
Here. Lean on me, Dad.
Yeah.
Now, easy. Easy.
Just help me to steady myself along these pilings.
Don't try to walk on it, Father. I'll hold you up. Now then. Only a few steps more. Come on. There now. There's a ladder leading down to the dock. Yeah. Here we are now.
Yes, sir. Let me give you a hand with the old gent.
Old gent, eh?
There's our carriage over there. Help me get him to it, will you please? Don't get down, William.
No, sir.
Hold the horses that we get him in.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We're nearly there now, Father.
I'm all right.
Careful, sir. Careful now. There you are.
Thank you. Thanks.
Now, just lean back on the cushions, Father. I'll see what I can do to ease the pain. Drive on, William.
Yes, sir.
Wait. Wash. You're needed here to keep the work going. Nothing like a crushed foot is going to stop the building of this bridge.
But, Father, you're badly hurt.
Do as I say. Go back to the job. I'll have this foot fixed and be down myself tomorrow.
Very well, sir. If you don't think you'll need me.
No, I don't need you. The bridge needs you. Drive to a hospital, William.
Yes, sir. Immediately, sir. Get up. Get up.
John A. Roebling did not come back to his bridge the following day, nor the next. His crushed foot was amputated, and only a few days later his son rushes home in answer to a hurried call. The doctor meets him outside his father's room.
What is it, Doctor? I came as soon as your message reached me at the bridge.
It was urgent. You must prepare yourself for the worst, Mr. Roebling.
Why, only yesterday he seemed to be recovering.
Tetanus infection set in. We've been unable to check it.
Does he know?
Your father is not a man to be fooled. You'd best go in. There's not much time.
Yes, of course.
I see that you're left alone.
Thank you.
Wash, my son.
Well, yes, Father. I'm here.
They've told you?
Yes. But it can't be true.
No, it's true, all right. Too bad I haven't one of our cables to anchor me to this earth, but since I haven't, how's the work on the bridge progressing?
Why, splendidly, Father. All the men asked to be remembered.
Tell them to finish that bridge, and they'll be remembered.
You can't give up this fight, Father. What will the bridge do without you?
I fought, and I'm fighting now, my son, but it'll soon be over. Come closer. I want your solemn promise.
Yes, Father. Anything.
You will finish the bridge. You will let nothing stand in your way.
I promise, sir. Brooklyn Bridge will be built.
Good. Boss. We're engineers, you and I. Engineers are reputed to be a humorless lot, but with their brains crammed with facts and figures.
I suppose we are, Father.
We sometimes overlook the humor of things like this accident of mine. Take that ferry boat that smashed my foot. My bridge will destroy its business, but it seems to have had its revenge.
John A. Roebling died, but his son was appointed chief engineer, and the work on Brooklyn Bridge went on. To build the great towers of the bridge, deep caissons were sunk to bedrock far below the level of the river. The men worked under terrific pressure, Roebling among them. Like hundreds of others, he suffered from the bends, the cause of which was unknown at that time. His health was wrecked. His doctors warned him, but the younger Roebling refused to work men where he himself would not go, and he returns to the caissons once too often.
He's in the office, Doctor. It seems to be another attack of these cramps the men get working down on the caissons.
I was afraid this would happen. I've warned him.
Right in here, Doctor.
Roebling?
Hello, Doctor. I knew they'd send for you. Can't a man get a cramp without...
No. Take it easy. Lie down there and don't try to get up. You're a very sick man, only you won't admit it.
Nonsense. I'm perfectly...
I don't try to tell you how to build bridges. Don't you try to tell me my business.
There's no use your telling me that I've got to quit work.
Perhaps not, but I'm going to tell you just the same. We've been friends ever since your father died, Roebling. And as a friend, as well as a physician, I'm telling you that you must have rest and quiet, or you'll never live to see this bridge completed.
You mean that?
Absolutely. You go down in those caissons again, I can't answer for what will surely happen.
The work's going along great, Mr. Roebling. Why don't you do as the doctor says and take a couple of months off and rest up? I know there isn't a man on the job that'd begrudge you a rest, and they'll do their level best while you're gone. I can promise you that.
I want you to promise me you'll stay away from the bridge for at least 6 months.
All right. I agree. I'll stay away from the bridge for 6 months. But don't think for a minute that I'll quit bossing the job. I can see everything that's going on from the porch of my house, and I'll keep my eye on the job even if I have to use a wheelchair and a telescope.
Washington Roebling kept his promise. He supervised the completion of Brooklyn Bridge from a wheelchair and lived to see the completion of his work, which stands today as a proud monument to his courage and determination. The Cavalcade of America, brought to you by DuPont, moves to 1931, when the dream of spanning the lower Hudson River became an accomplished fact with the completion of the George Washington Bridge. It was proclaimed a new triumph of engineering skill, but to the millions who have used it, the bridge is viewed in simpler terms. Not long ago, reporters gathered at its busy toll gates on the occasion of the crossing of the millionth car.
93. Hey, Shorty, get set for a picture.
I'll bet you 2 cents to a bald-headed mule the millionth car to pass over the bridge is driven by a woman.
I'll give you 2 to 1 odds it's a man.
90. All right, fellas. Get ready with your questions. We can't hold up traffic too long.
97.
Where's that?
98. 9. Hey, Shorty, you lose. It's that coupe coming up, and there's a man at the wheel. Get a shot as he drives up to the pay booth.
Just a minute, sir. Yours is the millionth car to cross the George Washington Bridge.
Oh, that a fact?
That's right. We'd like to get your reaction.
Mind giving us your name? Not at all. Henry Selden. Address? Englewood, New Jersey. Do you use the George Washington Bridge often, Mr. Selden? Every day. I work in New York and drive in. Well, what does it mean to you to have this bridge across the Hudson? Oh, plenty. It means I can get home from work while there's still light enough to work in my vegetable garden.
The George Washington Bridge still stands supreme, but it is soon to be eclipsed by a greater span across San Francisco's Golden Gate. In the swift tempo of our modern life, the George Washington Bridge is history. The new Golden Gate Bridge is an unfinished chapter in the annals of bridge construction. It is the mecca of engineers the world over. Officially and unofficially, they come to study the methods of American engineers. Let us join a European bridge expert as he inspects one of the great towers. He is shown over the project by one of the engineers in charge, and the 2 men are accompanied by their wives and the young son of the American engineer. It is during the noon hour. The bridge workers are awaiting the signal to resume the work that has been in progress for over 3 years.
Hey, Collins, what's the matter with your gang? We put the 2 girders to your 1 this morning.
I always figured you couldn't count, now I know it.
That's telling them, Steve. Wait till the whistle blows. We'll show them how girders ought to be running.
That's right. Yeah, that's what you say. Here comes the boss. Ask him which is number 1 gang. Howdy, boss.
Hi, boss.
Hello.
Hello, Steve. How'd it go this morning?
Just fine, sir. If it wasn't for Sullivan and his slowpokes, we'd be even farther ahead of schedule.
Would you listen to him? I'll leave it to you, boss. Ain't we number 1 gang?
You're not going to get me into that argument again. Monsieur Renaud, these men are members of the 2 finest rigging gangs in the world.
Yeah, that's right, boss.
Gentlemen, it is a great pleasure. I must congratulate you all on your work upon this magnificent bridge.
Now, monsieur, if you'll come this way while the men are off the tower, I'll show you a little problem that gave us quite a headache.
Oh, but certainly. Would it be possible for the ladies to accompany us? My wife, she's most interested. Always she must listen to me talk of bridges, so she feels she should know something about it.
Why, of course. It'll be perfectly safe. Ruth,
Oh, yes, Bob.
will you and Madame Renaud come this way?
Oh, may I come too, Father?
All right, Jimmy, come along. But mind you, no climbing up on the guardrails to watch the steamers.
Oh, now, please be careful, Jimmy. The men, they seem very happy, monsieur.
Well, they're pretty proud to be working on the bridge. And there's keen rivalry between the various crews.
Fine workmen. Very most important. Without them, all the steel and concrete in the world would not build such a bridge as this. Tell me, monsieur, what is the clearance above mean-high water this bridge deck is to have?
Let me tell Monsieur Renaud, Father.
All right, Jimmy. See if you can remember the figures.
The minimum vertical clearance at center is 220 feet, 100 feet greater than the Brooklyn Bridge, and 20 feet more than the George Washington Bridge.
That's right, Jimmy.
The towers are 746 feet above the water. The central span measures 4,200 feet, 4/5 of a mile. It is 3 times the length of the Brooklyn Bridge span and 700 feet longer than the George Washington Bridge.
Now, Jimmy, please. Now, that's enough.
Oh, but madame, let him go on. I'm most interested.
Don't encourage him, Monsieur Renaud.
I think he's accumulated more facts about the bridge than any of us on the job.
Oh, what a wonderful view from here. All of the bay. And down below the big ocean liner, they go out to sea.
No, below the work is finished. It is above that interests me. I see the cable work is almost ready for the, what you call them in English? Suppose you tell me, Monsieur Jimmy.
You mean the suspenders, sir?
Oui, that is it.
The Roebling Company has the contract for all cables, and the bridge will require a total wire length of 80,000 miles.
Well.
Now, Jimmy, I think you'd better let your father explain the bridge to Monsieur Renault.
But no, your husband is too modest. He is like his men. To him, it is a job to be done. Tell me, Monsieur Jimmy, what are you going to do when you become a man?
Well, sir, first I'm going to an engineering college, and I'm going to build a suspension bridge that will make this one look like a toy.
It is plain to see. We impress the younger generation not at all.
Come on, boys. That means time to get back to work.
Come on, men. Let's build ourselves a bridge.
All right, come on.
The bridges that man builds over rivers to speed his travel over natural obstacles may be compared with the achievements of chemical science that bridge the way to a fuller life for everyone. Likewise, the history of chemistry shows that chemical processes used to make one product often bridge the way to other products. The production of commercial explosives used in blasting foundations for the bridges mentioned in tonight's stories call for large quantities of nitric acid, such as DuPont makes in a plant near Charleston, West Virginia. In this plant, with the aid of coal, hydrogen is taken from the water and nitrogen from the air. Then these two gases are combined under tremendous pressure, as high as 15,000 pounds to the square inch, to produce liquid ammonia. In this same plant, by changing the gas mixtures but using the same high pressures, other important products are obtained, and one of them is the chief ingredient of Zerone, Z-E-R-O-N-E, a DuPont antifreeze solution for automobile radiators. Many of us remember when the first signs of cold weather meant jacking up your car in the garage, draining the radiator, and leaving it there until spring. But think of this winter, one of the severest in years. We go merrily along, running our cars day after day in 0 temperatures or below. Why? Because chemical research has developed radiator antifreeze solutions that make such comfort and convenience possible. I can tell you that meant a lot to motorists throughout the East who woke up this morning to find 0 temperatures had arrived overnight. DuPont chemists created Zerone as an especially efficient, scientific, economical, and non-corrosive antifreeze, which, if used in proper quantities, will protect the radiator of your car against freezing down to any temperature. More than 3 million motorists are enjoying the services of their cars this winter because of the protection which Zerone affords. The development of this product has opened up a new market for American coal, thousands of tons of which are used in DuPont's high-pressure plant. The valuable products of this single enterprise in chemical research amply justify the DuPont phrase, better things for better living through chemistry. Next week at this same time, DuPont will present Heroes of the Sea, another dramatic episode in the Cavalcade of America. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This is Sandy Becker saying, keep cooking with Crisco. It's all vegetable. It's digestible.
HOJO Radio, we're your old-time radio headquarters. Stay tuned.
Remember, a Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness. The makers of Hallmark greeting cards bring you the true and heartwarming story of a lonely young man's Christmas Eve in a small American town, starring Frank Sinatra.
than a third of a century, quality has been a habit with the makers of Hallmark cards. They are the kind of cards you can be proud to send, proud to receive. That's why, through the years, Hallmark cards have been America's favorite greeting cards. So if you want to send the very finest, look on the back for the 3 identifying words, a Hallmark card. These 3 words, a Hallmark card, are your assurance of finest quality. They tell your friends you cared enough to send the very best. And now, as usual, here is Richard Culmer, well-known Broadway actor and producer, to preside over tonight's Hallmark program. Mr. Culmer.
Thank you, Tom Shirley, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our guest tonight is a fairly successful and fortunate young man. He's one of the stars of the MGM Technicolor musical, Till the Clouds Roll By. He has his own radio show on CBS for Old Gold Cigarettes every Wednesday night. He has a voice and a degree of personal charm that has made him the idol of a generation of Americans, and he has at his disposal this evening what I consider to be one of the very finest dramatic scripts that we've ever presented on the Hallmark program. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Sinatra.
Thanks, Dick. And say, I certainly agree with you about tonight's script. And as Crosby might say, Mr. Robert Sloane's sensitive and persuasive treatment of this Reader's Digest narrative is a veritable classic of dramaturgic felicity.
Well, how would you say it, Frank?
Well, I think I'd call it a happy story, and I'm glad it's a true one. I think it proves something pretty wonderful about the American people. There's a kind of warmth here, Dick, a spirit of friendly giving without thought of return that you don't quite find anywhere else. I'm kind of glad you invited me to be on the Hallmark program tonight, Dick, and I'm glad the story is the rich human report of an incident one Christmas Eve in Illinois. There was room for a stranger.
He was sitting on a suitcase in a crowded railroad station, waiting for the gateman to announce his train. He was a Navy flyer just back from overseas, and he was having trouble finding a comfortable position for his leg, the one that was hurt in the crash. He was going to be operated on in 2 days at the Great Lakes Naval Hospital, but you'd never have known it to look at him. He was sitting there smiling like the happiest guy in the world, because it was December 24th, 1943, and he was going to spend Christmas with his girl.
Porter, you get these bags?
Sorry, sir. I'm taking...
61? That's us, isn't it, Porter?
Yes, sir. That's us, all right. Here, let me help you up, sir.
No, I can make it. There. Come on, let's get going.
Yes, sir, yes. Oh, here now. Don't pick up your bag, sir. That's what you got me for.
I didn't realize I had it.
You sure is in a powerful hurry to get aboard, sir. I hope you ain't going to make me run.
I'm not running, am I? I just don't want to miss that train.
Yes, sir. She must be awful pretty, sir.
Yeah, she is. I mean, gosh, is it that easy to tell it? I'm thinking about it.
Yes, sir.
Well, we better get going.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir. Are you Lieutenant Scott, Lieutenant Joel Scott?
Yes, that's right.
Well, I'm glad I found you. I have a telegram for you.
Telegram?
Yes, sir. Will you sign here, please?
Oh, sure, thanks.
Right.
Want me to go ahead, sir?
No, wait a minute. I better read this first. It might be official and, Oh. It's from my commanding officer.
It ain't bad, is it?
Yeah, kind of. Look, report to Great Lakes Naval Station noon, December 25th. Sorry, must cancel leave.
December 25th? That's tomorrow, sir.
Yeah. He could have wished me a Merry Christmas.
Corners, Max. Danville Corners.
This cowcatcher stops at them all, don't it?
Yeah, it looks that way.
I generally take a sleeper on this run, but I couldn't get one this time. War, you know, kind of cuts in on a traveling man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was a gunnery sergeant in the last one, but they wouldn't take me for this one somehow. They said I might just well go right on selling baby nipples.
Oh?
Yeah. You, going home for Christmas?
No.
I didn't think you were. I kind of got a glimpse of that telegram you were reading without meaning to, of course, but you read it so many times I couldn't help seeing that part about the hospital.
Oh, that's all right. You don't have to apologize. No secret where I'm going.
What's the matter, son? They're going to do something about your leg?
I don't know what they're going to do. Lots of things, I guess. What difference does it make?
Don't you care?
Well, sure I care. I'm just a little browned off, that's all. I was figuring on spending Christmas with my girl.
Oh. Haven't you seen her yet?
No, not since I got back.
Well, where she live? I get around the country a lot. Maybe I could look her up and tell her that I...
Oh, I couldn't ask you to do that. She lives in Bellport.
Illinois?
Yeah.
Well, that's not so far from here. It's only about an hour or so from Rockford Junction.
It doesn't do me much good. Where's Rockford Junction?
Well, it's just a couple of stations up the line. We get there about midnight.
What if we do?
Well, let me see now. If you don't have to be at Great Lakes till noon, I think you can make it.
Make what?
Connections. All you have to do is get a train over to Bellport and be back in time to pick up the next local to Great Lakes. And I know there's one about 6 o'clock in the morning because I've been on it.
Look, I don't know what you're talking about. Christmas is tomorrow.
Yeah, but it's tonight too, son, after midnight. Now, if you can get over to Bellport and back, you might be able to spend a few hours with her.
At 1 o'clock in the morning?
Why not? I bet she'd be willing to see you any time, especially on Christmas morning. Yeah, I'll look it up on the schedule.
Gee, sure would be kind of nice. I could send her a telegram.
Yes, sir. Here we are right here. Leave Rockford Junction at 12:22. Arrive at Bellport at 1:15 a.m. And you can get the 4:30 back to the main line.
I can? Let me see that.
Sure, it's right here, son, in black and white. You can have a little over 4 hours with her, if she meets you at the station.
Oh, she'd do that all right. The only thing is I'll have to send her a telegram at the next station.
Danville Corners!
Gosh, I don't have much time to make up my mind, do I?
I didn't know you had to make it up, son.
Well, I don't, but... Say, conductor!
Yes, sir?
Have I got time to stop off here and send a wire?
You better hurry, son. We only stay here a minute.
Well, can't you just...
All right. Put it down on a piece of paper, and I'll give it to the station master myself.
Gee, thanks, conductor. Thanks a million.
Rockford Junction. Here, let me help you with that grip, son.
Oh, I'm all right. I don't need any help, thanks.
Well, take care of yourself, Lieutenant. Merry Christmas.
You bet. Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Whoop.
So long, conductor.
So long, son.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the one I used to know.
Looking for a cab, sir?
Why, no, thanks.
Well, I don't drive one. I'm a station master. I just wanted to tell you we don't have any taxi cabs here at the junction, but if you need a lift with that bag, I'll be glad to.
Well, thanks a lot, but you see, I'm not staying here tonight. I'm just waiting for the 12:22 to Bellport.
Pardon?
The 12:22 to Bellport. It'll be along any minute, won't it?
Why, are you expecting somebody on it, son?
Oh, no, I'm going to take it myself. Going up to meet my girl.
Oh.
Haven't seen her for a long time, and, well, we'll be together for a couple of hours anyway. Say, it's a great night, isn't it?
Yeah. Only I was just wondering, I've never seen you around these parts before. How'd you know there was a 12:22 to Bellport?
Are you kidding?
No, sir.
Well, it says so right here on the timetable. Here, look.
Well, that's a regular train, all right, but you know it's after midnight, son. Today's Christmas.
What do you mean?
Well, look down here in the fine print. You can see what it says. Trains marked with a star will not run Thanksgiving Day or December 25th.
Gee, it's cold, huh? Where you taking me? Isn't there a phone in the station?
No, not a payphone. Let's go down to Woody's restaurant over here. It's at the end of the platform.
Oh.
And if you get a chance, you ought to try some of that pumpkin pie Woody's got. His missus bakes it herself, and it's pretty...
Yeah. I'll try it right after I make my phone call. Are you sure I can't get a cab or a bus or anything to Bellport tonight?
No, sir, not this late, but I'll tell you what you can do.
What's that?
Have your girl come down, meet you here. There's a train leaves Bellport 1:15, and that one is running tonight.
Oh, gee, I don't know now. That'd be asking an awful lot.
Well, it's up to you, son. This is Woody's place right here.
Oh, thank you.
It's all right. I'm coming in with you for some of that pie. Hiya, Woody.
All right.
Got a young fella here wants to use your phone.
Yeah, sure. Right over here on the wall.
On the wall?
Yeah.
I thought maybe you had one in the booth.
In a booth?
Oh, well, I guess it isn't that important. It's just that I'm going to be talking to my girl.
Shucks, son. We won't listen in, but besides, I'm sure there's nothing you could say it wouldn't make decent hearing for other folks.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'll have some of that pie, Woody.
Yeah, you bet.
Hello? Operator, will you get me Bellport 9613, please?
Here you are, Harry. Let's make this news.
Shh, don't make so much noise.
Just a minute, operator. I'll have it for you in a second.
Here, you need some change?
Oh, thanks. I'll pay you back as soon as I get there.
Take your time. It's good pie, Woody.
Hello? Hello, Susan? This is me, honey, Joe. Yeah, I'm over here at Rockford Junction. Did you get my wire? Oh, I'm all right. But listen, baby, this train to Bellport, it isn't running tonight. So I don't think I'll be able to see you. No, not unless you wanted to come over here. Well, there wouldn't be much to do, you know. We'd both be strangers in town and... Well, yes, sure. Yeah, there's a train from Bellport, all right. Oh, hold on a second. I'll find out when it leaves. Say, would you tell me when...
Leaves Bellport at 1:15, gets here at 2:04.
Thank you very much. Hello, Susan. Look, it leaves Bellport at 1:15. But do you think it's all right for you to... Sure, I want to see you. More than anything in the world. No, it isn't that. I just can't talk very well here. The phone's on the wall, and... You will? Gee, that's swell. All right, baby. Look, you bundle up warm now, and I'll meet you at the train. Yeah. And Sue, I don't care who's listening. I love you more than anything in the whole world.
Frank Sinatra will be back in just a moment with the second act of tonight's Hallmark drama from the pages of the Reader's Digest, America's favorite magazine. Now, here's Dick Calmer.
There's something really new, really different in Christmas cards this year. The new Hallmark Game Bird cards designed especially for men. These cards feature 12 different illustrations of America's favorite game birds in their rich, natural color. Each is a faithful reproduction of one of Lynn Bogue Hunt's famous paintings, Game Birds of America. These new Hallmark Game Bird cards really talk a man's language. They're really Christmas cards to send to any man and for every man to send. Masculine as a briar pipe, friendly as a log fire, colorful as all outdoors.
Yes, Dick, they're cards that really talk a man's language. But I would like to make a suggestion to all the wives in our audience. When you're shopping tomorrow, take home one or more portfolios of Game Bird cards for your husband to send to his special friends. He'll think they're wonderful.
Yes, for really new Christmas cards this year, ask your dealer for Hallmark Game Bird cards designed especially for men. Hallmark cards are sold in America's finest shops and stores. Now, back to Frank Sinatra and tonight's Hallmark drama. 10 minutes before the 1:15 from Bellport pulled into Rockford Junction, Lieutenant Joel Scott was standing on the station platform watching for the beam of light that would tell him his sweetheart's train was arriving. It wasn't exactly the warmest night of the year, But when that light shone down on the tracks, it felt as if somebody had just built a fire under Joel's heart. And when the train ground to a stop and a young lady alighted from the car before the last, he really knew it was Christmas.
Sue! Over here, baby. I'm over here.
No, don't run, darling. I'll come to you. Oh, Joe. Oh, darling, it's so good to see you. So awfully good.
Well, gee, don't cry about it, honey. You'll make me blubber in a moment.
All right, I won't cry. I didn't when you left, and I'm not going to now.
That's a good girl.
It's just that you look so different, darling. I wasn't used to seeing you this way.
Well, let's not think about things like that now. It's Christmas, baby, and we're spending it together, part of it anyway.
Oh, the best part.
You bet. Gosh, I never thought we'd make it.
When do you have to leave, Joe?
6:30. 6:31 to be exact. But that's 4 hours from now, and we're going to make those 4 hours seem like a lifetime.
Sure we are. Oh, darling, there's so much to talk about. Where'll we start? Where'll we go?
Well, I don't know. This town's deader than a doornail after 10 o'clock. Do you see any lights on anywhere?
Oh, not on this side. Just street lights.
That's all there is on the other side, too. Gee, I was hoping there might be a dance or something going on, but it certainly doesn't look like it.
Oh, I don't care about dancing. Not tonight. I just want to be with you.
Well, we can't just stand out here in the cold. We've got to find a place to sit down.
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, what about the station?
Locked up for the night.
Oh.
The whole town's locked up as far as I can see. I guess we'll have to go back to that broken-down restaurant where I made the call.
Oh, all right.
Well, it's not much, sweetie, but it's about the only place we can keep warm. Do you mind?
Oh, of course not.
Gee, I'm sorry, darling. I really should have realized what we were up against before I asked you to come all the way down here.
Now, don't be silly. I want to go to the restaurant. I'm hungry.
You are?
Why, sure. Come on.
Okay. It's right down here at the end of the... Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
Look, the lights are out. Now, that place is closed, too.
Right, mister?
Joe, look out. You'll get run over.
Wow. That guy was really going.
Oh, yes. Oh, they all seem to be going like that on this road. Darling, don't you think we ought to go back to the station instead of trying to hitch a ride? Nobody will stop for us at this time of night.
Yeah, we've got to find a place to eat, honey. You must be nearly starved by now.
Oh, no, I just said that. I'm not really hungry.
Well, I am. Hungry and tired and fed up with this tank town. I never should have brought you down here.
Joe.
I'm sorry, honey. I don't mean to be such a rotten sport, but I wanted everything to be so right for us tonight. And it's all gone just the opposite way.
It's still Christmas, Joe.
Is it? It doesn't feel like Christmas anymore.
Oh, now don't say that, darling.
Well, it doesn't. Not in this godforsaken town. I'll bet you Santa Claus stays away from this place, like that train with a star on it.
Oh, Joel, there's a car coming.
Some Christmas. Can't even find a place to sit down.
Darling, there's a car coming.
Well, let it come. I'm not in the way.
Darling, he's slowing down. Oh, maybe he'll stop for us.
Say that. Ride, mister? Give us a ride?
Sure thing, son. Where are you headed?
Oh, just down the way a little bit. We're looking for a diner so we could get something to eat.
Well, hop in. I'll get you to a diner.
Swell. Come on, Sue.
All right, dear.
Here, let me put that suitcase in back, son.
Thanks a lot. Say, aren't you the man that I...
Yeah, that's right, son. Harry, the station master.
Well, we sure are glad you came along. Say, this is my girl, Harry.
Pleased to meet you.
How'd you do?
I reckon you must think Rockford Junction just about the worst place in the world to come to, ma'am.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Well, it is, in the middle of the night, especially for a stranger.
Say, what are you doing, Harry?
Turning around.
What for? Isn't there a diner in the direction you were going?
No.
Oh, well, we didn't mean to take you out of your way.
It's all right. I've got plenty of time.
Now, look, I don't get it. There's a diner right down there, Harry. I can see the light.
Oh, that place is closed.
What's the lights on?
Oh, I didn't see any lights.
Well, I did. Hey, what's the idea of turning off the main road? Where are you taking us?
To a diner. Isn't that where you want to go?
Sure, but you'll never find one on a dirt road.
Oh, you know I won't. Don't ask so many questions, son. I'm taking a shortcut.
Joel, it's so dark on this road.
Now, don't be afraid, ma'am. Nothing's going to happen to you.
You can say that again, because you're going to pull up right here and let us out.
Now, keep your seat, son. I ain't going to do anything of the kind.
Now, wait a minute.
Sit down, I said. I'll let you out when I'm good and ready. All right. You can get out right here.
Right where? I thought you said you were taking us to a diner.
Changed my mind. I brought you up to this place instead. You can get a meal in here.
In where?
Right in this house. Come on. There isn't much time.
Joel, do you think we ought...
Come on. You don't have to stay if you don't like the place. I just thought you might enjoy this better than going to a diner. After all, it's Christmas.
Oh, but there aren't any lights on in this house.
Sure there are. Just looks that way because the shades are down. See, there's plenty of light.
Well, I guess it's all right. Come on, Sue.
That's it.
Harry, you got him with you?
Yeah, sure have, Woody. I wouldn't let him get away for all the money in the world, not this time.
Say, what's the big idea?
Merry Christmas, Lieutenant.
Christmas.
You too, ma'am. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Joel, I don't understand.
Neither do I, darling. Say, what is this, a party?
Sure is, young fella. Party for you and your girl.
What?
Huh?
Yeah, we didn't have much time to get ready, but Woody and I brought some stuff over from the restaurant, so I know we'll all have plenty to eat.
I say, got 2 pies and a turkey.
Sure.
Oh, gosh,
Golly.
That's all right, son. You don't have to say nothing. Just have a good time.
Sure, have a good time. Goodness knows we almost lost you when that fool husband of mine closed up the restaurant.
I had to close it, Martha. I was too busy getting things ready.
Well, don't matter now anyways. Harry saved the day for us, so let's not argue about it.
I should say not.
Come on, let's get some of that.
Come on in the living room, son. Make yourself at home. Come on, Sue. This is your party, and we know you want to be alone, so we ain't going to bother you none.
Darling, look. The whole room's decorated.
Gosh, a Christmas tree and everything.
Well, the folks in town kind of thought you might like a place to celebrate, so we fixed up this one for you. Now go ahead and have a Merry Christmas.
What time is it, Joel?
Oh, don't worry about the time. Don't worry about anything. Harry said he'd let me know when I had to leave for the train.
Well, it must be soon now. Do you want to play another record on the Victrola? Dance, Joel?
No, let's just sit here and take it easy.
I love you, darling.
Just like that?
Just like that. And this. What's that, darling? Who's singing?
Early morning carolers, I guess. Gee whiz, all the comforts are home.
Yes, I know. We didn't miss a thing, did we?
No, darling. These people thought of everything. Even the presents under the tree.
Did you see this one? To the officer and his bride-to-be. They didn't even know our names.
Time to go, Joe.
All right, Harry, just another minute. I want to say goodbye.
Sure thing.
Darling, can't I go down to the station with you?
No, I want you to stay here, Sue. Just let me hold your hand for a minute and let me say Merry Christmas the way I want it. Holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin, mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep
sleep in heavenly peace.
The best town, the best people, and the best Christmas I ever knew.
Thank you, Frank Sinatra, for a wonderful performance.
Ladies, your Hallmark dealer has a Christmas present for you. It's the new Hallmark date book to help you remember all your important dates. If you've had one of these handy reminders in other years, you know how helpful a date book is in keeping your social life well organized. It never lets you forget the anniversaries, birthdays, and all the other dates that are so important to remember. Its 32 pages offer plenty of space for listing all of your relatives and friends and their important days, as well as your full Christmas card list. It has space, too, to jot down your own social engagements, and also dates you particularly want to remember. It sounds like a great big book, but surprisingly, it's small enough to fit neatly into your purse.
You'll want to carry your date book with you all the time, so don't wait. Get your free Hallmark date book tomorrow. Just ask your Hallmark dealer for his gift to you, the 1947 Hallmark date book. Hallmark cards are sold at America's finest shops and stores. Stop in tomorrow and ask for your free 1947 Hallmark date book. Yes, it's free. It's your Hallmark dealer's gift especially for you. You're cordially invited to be with us again next week at the same time for another fine dramatic program brought to you by the makers of Hallmark greeting cards, America's favorite greeting cards. If you enjoyed tonight's show, won't you please tell your friends about it and ask them also to tune in for next week's Hallmark program. At that time, you will hear the great and true story of an empire-building doctor who opened the American West for colonization. Our star will be that fine actor of the American stage and the American screen, Walter Abel.
For a Stranger was dramatized by Robert Sloan from the Reader's Digest, America's favorite magazine. The Hallmark program was directed by Mark Sloan, with music especially composed by Jack Miller. To be doubly sure of the finest quality, always look in the back of your cards for those three identifying words, a Hallmark card. Remember, a Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness. This is Tom Shirley speaking for the makers of Hallmark greeting cards and wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
If you want to relieve headache, neuritis, or neuralgia pains, quickly try Anacin. The relief it brings is incredibly fast. Here's why. Anacin is made like a doctor's prescription, contains not just one, but a combination of medically active and proved ingredients. Get Anacin from your druggist in easy-to-take tablet form. Keep it handy. And then next time you have a headache pain or suffer pain of neuritis or neuralgia, take Anacin tablets. For most effective relief, use only as directed. Anacin, A-N-A-C-I-N.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
The story of Dr. Kildare.
Whatsoever house I enter, there will I go for the benefit of the sick. Or whatsoever things I see or hear concerning the life of men, I will keep silence thereon, counting such things to be held as sacred trust. I will exercise my art solely for the cure of...
The story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer brought you those famous motion pictures.
Now, this exciting, heartwarming series is heard on radio. In just a moment, the story of Dr. Kildare. Now, the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Blair General Hospital, one of the great citadels of American medicine. A clump of gray-white buildings planted deep in the heart of New York, the nerve center of medical progress, where great minds and skilled hands wage man's everlasting battle against death and disease. Blair General Hospital, where life begins, where life ends, where life goes on.
I know you dislike sentimentalism, Dr. Gillespie, but, well, the best I'd hoped for was a chance to work with you on these Betatron treatments, and when instead you put me in full charge of the project.
Ah, now, Kildare, don't start gushing around like an old maid at a fraternity dance. Forget it.
Well, anyway, thanks.
We're living in a high-speed age, Jimmy, and it affects medicine along with everything else. You younger men are the ones who'll have to keep up with it. It was only a few years ago that the sulfur drugs came along, then penicillin and the other antibiotics. A little later, the radioactive compounds, and now the Betatron.
Well, every one of those has meant another big step forward in medicine and a lot of new problems and new techniques to be learned. Why, most of the formulas and calculations Miller's used in designing this machine come from a branch of mathematics I've never even heard of.
Well, the further science advances, the more specialized it becomes, and the more interdependent. All you can do is take a fellow scientist's results on faith. Assume he's right, and then go ahead.
I'm willing to do that in this case. Bart Miller is one of the best mathematicians and physicists in the country. So my main concern now is the fact we can treat cancers lying close to the brain. Those we couldn't touch before with surgery, x-rays, or anything else. As you know, that's as important as...
Pardon me, Dr. Kildare, but the specimen lab called. They've isolated the 6 guinea pigs you ordered and have them ready for you.
Oh, good, Parker. Will you have them sent down to the new lab in the basement? I'll be there later.
All right, Dr. Kildare.
I've scheduled the first test run with the machine for 3 o'clock this afternoon.
What about the first human test?
Oh, that won't be a test, Dr. Gillespie. It'll be a treatment.
Oh.
And the patient is Janet Dane. Maybe you remember her.
Oh, yes. The young artist who was in here for a diagnosis about a month ago. She had a throat cancer, high up on the left side, well advanced, and not treatable.
Until now. She's coming in for consultation in an hour. I just talked with her on the phone. You know, I'm worried about her mental condition, though. She's got to want to get well, but apparently she doesn't even care. When we told her she had cancer, she seemed to lose all her belief in everything.
Well, that's one problem you younger doctors still have to deal with, Jimmy. The problem of the human mind and heart and soul. There's no machine for that one. You'll have to solve that all alone.
Then, as I understand it, Dr. Kildare, I'll be fastened in some sort of chair in a small room down in the basement while this atom smasher shoots a narrow beam of high-frequency radiation through my throat.
Yes, that's essentially correct, Miss Dane. Each treatment lasts about 3 minutes, and it'll take several of them before we know the results. You'll be able to hear the Betatron running, of course, but you'll have no other sensation and no pain.
Nevertheless, I take it there is some danger involved.
Oh, not as far as we know. You'll be the first patient to be treated here at Blair, of course, but similar machines have been used successfully in other places.
Well, then why all these precautions you told me about? 3-foot concrete walls on the room I'll be in, and with lead shields around it, and you and the other operators looking in at me through portholes.
Well, there's quite a lot of difference between the careful controlling and focusing of that beam where you want it to go and just turning the radiation loose and permitting indiscriminate exposure to it. But with proper handling of the machine, there's nothing to be frightened about.
Oh, don't misunderstand me, Dr. Kildare. There's no question of being frightened. I've stopped being frightened of anything.
I know. I almost wish you were a little frightened. I wish you cared enough to be.
Care? About what, my life? Why should I? When you told me a month ago I was going to lose it.
No, not quite that. I said that without treatment you had around 6 months to live. Well, we're ready now to start treatment.
But there's nothing really certain about this $1 million gadget, is there? It's still only a chance.
A very good chance, though. Well, it's true, there are types of cancer that don't respond particularly to betatron radiation, but I'm confident yours will.
Would you still be as confident if you were in my place, Dr. Kildare?
I know how it would sound if I said your life is more important to me than mine, so we'll let that go. But all our lives depend on chance. I could be killed by an automobile tomorrow, and you might live to be 90.
Oh.
Of course, there's some chance involved in this treatment, but all the odds are with us. You've got to believe and have faith.
In what? I had faith in myself until this came along. So what can you put faith in?
Well, if nothing else, why not me? I mean, in whatever knowledge and ability I have as a doctor, and the confidence I feel about the treatment.
Suppose the treatment doesn't work.
It will.
You're so sincere and convincing. A person could believe in you easily. Could want to believe in you.
Then give it a try, will you?
You won't let me down, Dr. Kildare?
No, Miss Dane. I won't let you down.
Why, it's as plain as the nose on your face. That girl's fallen in love with you. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, that's ridiculous. You're always jumping to conclusions on insufficient evidence.
I know the symptoms, Jimmy. And under the circumstances, it was inevitable. Every woman falls in love with her doctor at least once. It's a psychological fact.
Well, not Janet Dane. She isn't the type.
Well, maybe she's not your type, but every woman is a type.
Well, I hope you're wrong. I've been through that particular patient problem before. Oh, in fact, I know you're wrong.
Okay, Kildare. I'm ready to go ahead on the tests whenever you are.
All right, Bart, let's get started. Wayman, you can bring that first cage over now.
Gotcha, boss. One live guinea pig coming up. Cute little gopher, ain't he, Doc?
Yeah. Bart, is it safe to go inside now?
Yes, everything's cut off. Go ahead.
Come on, Joe.
Jeepers. This room gives me the whim-wim. There's nothing in here but that one chair. It looks like an execution chamber.
It's intended to be just the opposite. Now, take that guinea pig out of the cage, Joe. I've got to strap him in place here on the head of the chair.
Okay, boss.
Thanks.
Say, he acts kind of dopey.
He's under a sedative, so he'll stay quiet during the test.
Oh, this ain't gonna hurt the little fella, is it, Tom?
No, he won't even know anything's going on. Now, there we are. Oh, come on, Joe. Let's get out of here.
That's okay by me. That thing there looks like a machine gun pointing through the wall there. It's even got ring sights on it.
When you fire a 30 million volt shot, it's a good idea to know where you're aiming. All clear, Bart. It's yours from here on.
Okay. Roll him over, Jim.
Right.
Dr. Gillespie, you can use this porthole here if you like.
Thank you.
I don't see nothing happening yet, boss.
Speed steady at 21,000, Bart.
All right. Cut in the primaries.
Secondary plates are holding on 27.53, Bart.
Good. Are the grids open?
Yeah. 31, round the clock.
Well, gentlemen, this is it. Test number 1. On 0, Jim?
Right.
Ready. Now.
I don't see nothing happening in there, Doc.
No, and you won't see anything, Joe. The beam is invisible.
Oh, that little gopher inside there sure don't seem to mind it none.
He doesn't even feel it. Well, 2 minutes, 43 seconds more to go. You've seen the whole procedure now, Miss Dane. That guinea pig in there is the 8th one we've tested this week. 3-minute exposures each time, and not one has showed any ill effects.
Well, this one certainly seems to feel all right. Guess if a guinea pig can go through with it, I can too. When do we start?
Well, the first treatment is scheduled for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
I see.
You've decided to take my advice.
Yes. Whatever faith I have, it's all in you now. I guess I ought to put you on the spot.
I suppose it does in a way, but thanks for doing it.
Oh, Kildare. Oh, so you're still down here. Am I too late for the run?
Yes, we just finished, Dr. Gillespie. Everything worked perfectly. Bart's there in the control room now making a final check over.
Ron, Kildare, I've just completed it. All okay.
Oh, good.
Now, Jim and I'll come in at 7:30 in the morning, have it warmed up, ready to roll any time from 8:30 on.
Now, then it'll work out nicely. We're scheduled for 9.
Well, how do you feel, Miss Dane?
Better than I have any time for the past month, Dr. Gillespie. Thanks to my physician, who's a pretty wonderful guy, in case you didn't know it.
Yeah, that fits in with a little theory of mine on psychology.
Now, let's not go into that, Dr. Gillespie.
Jeepers, Doc, they've been trying to call you up at the lab. You know what's happened?
No, what is it, Joe?
Them 2 guinea pigs you tested down here Monday are both dead.
Dead?
What? They just now found them keeled over in their cages, colder than a March herring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks as though you'd better do some more testing before you start your treatments, Jimmy.
It couldn't have been caused by the machine. Their blood counts, cell structure, vasocardiac, reflexes, everything showed no damage after the tests. Now, they've died from something else. It's pure coincidence, bound to be.
Well, they certainly didn't get anything from Big Betsy here but a shot of straight high-freak radiation. I'll swear to that. Nothing else showed up on the test blocks or the recorders.
Well, nevertheless, we'd better not take any chances with Miss Dane until we're sure what happened.
No, I'm not afraid. Whatever Dr. Kildare says, that's all right with me. I've complete confidence in him.
Even under the circumstances.
Of course. It's a little matter of faith, you know.
All right, Miss Dane. We'll go ahead with the first treatment as originally scheduled.
Continue with the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Well, there's no use carrying the topsy any farther, Dr. Gillespie. Same condition in the lungs, congested and inflamed. This animal died from the same cause as the other one.
Certainly. From pneumonia. I told you that 3 hours ago, Jimmy, without any autopsy.
I know, but we still had to make sure. What time is it?
Oh, after midnight.
Well, guess I better clean up this mess and get some sleep.
You're still going ahead with that treatment in the morning?
Yes.
We don't know what caused the pneumonia, Jimmy.
But I do know that it wasn't the Betatron.
Coincidence, then.
Yes. Those 2 guinea pigs were left overnight in that basement lab. It's damp down there. They may come from a susceptible strain. They were new specimens, delivered only the day before. They may even have been infected when they came to the hospital.
Yeah, there's possibility, yeah. But there's nothing sure about any one of them.
No, but as far as I'm concerned, these things are sure. 1, when Bart Miller says the machine is functioning perfectly, I'm sure that it is. 2, I'm sure there's no medical theory to account for high-frequency radiation causing pneumonia, without at least some evidence of cell damage or blood deterioration or some of the other signs we've looked for tonight. 3, I'm sure that without treatment, Janet Dane will be dead in less than 6 months.
Well, Jimmy, it's your decision. And it's a hard one any way you look at it. The girl has a lot of confidence in you.
I know. It's the one thing she's clinging to now.
Plus, of course, the fact that she's in love with you.
No, you're wrong about that.
Well, maybe. Anyway, what are you going to do? Cancel the treatment or go ahead?
Well, Janet said her confidence was only as strong as mine. All the knowledge and skill I have tells me there's no reason for delaying that treatment. I know I'm right, and I'm going ahead with it. The schedule is still 9 o'clock in the morning.
Dr. Gillespie, we're ready to roll any time Kildare gets here with the patient.
Good. He's due any minute now.
Jim and I have gone over Big Betsy with a fine-tooth comb. Everything works perfectly. I'd stake my life on it.
Well, in a way, we are staking a life on it.
Dr. Gillespie, when I think what that poor child has to go through, I just get so nervous I could scream.
Oh, fine, Parker.
That's all we need to build up Miss Dane's courage. A screaming nurse waiting to greet her.
Well, after what I heard you and Dr. Kildare saying last night, I certainly can't be very calm about this.
By the tarn, eavesdropping.
I was not. I only happened to overhear it.
Oh, sure you did, Snoopy.
Oh, yeah, I know just how she feels, Doc. I mean, sir, it ain't like there was a guinea pig in there. This time it's going to be a real live thing.
Wayman, you're an ambulance driver, and you got no business down here. Get out.
Yeah, but what if she maybe passes out, maybe, and we got to haul her off on a stretcher or something?
Oh, confound it. This isn't an execution. It's an attempt to save a human life. So stop acting like members of a death watch.
Dr. Gillespie, here she is.
Well, Dr. Kildare, I seem to have quite a welcoming committee. Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Well, how do you feel, Miss Dane?
Oh, fine, Dr. Gillespie. Well, can someone at least smile? This isn't an execution, you know.
Yeah.
How about it, Bart? Already in your department?
Sure, anytime. Roll him over, Jim.
Right. I guess there's no point in delaying things, Miss Dane. Shall we go on inside?
Yes. Let's get it over with. Well, we who are about to die salute you.
About to live, Miss Dane.
Dr. Gillespie, if I didn't believe that, too, I wouldn't be joking about it. All right, Dr. Kildare, let's go. This room was made less scary when the guinea pig was in here and I was outside.
Well, you'll be outside again in a little over 3 minutes. Now climb into that chair. We'll get you settled.
Like so?
That's right. Now just lean back against the headrest.
All right.
Put your arms like there. Now all you have to do is sit here for 3 minutes. Don't move. Don't turn your head. Now, this microphone here will pick up your heartbeat while this tube on your arm registers blood pressure. I'll be following them on recording dials outside the window there. And if you get nervous or want the thing stopped for any reason, just press this button under your hand and we'll shut off the whole works. You got it?
Yes. I won't press the button, though.
Oh, good girl. You've got a lot of courage, Miss Dane.
Believe me, Doctor. It's going to be all right.
I know it is.
I wonder if you'll know what I mean when I tell you I love you.
Well, I guess it's...
You don't know. But you will when I'm well again.
Miss Dane, you're a very beautiful woman, but...
Thank you, Doctor. I suppose we may as well get started. Don't you think?
All right. I'll be at the window.
I'm not worried, Dr. Kildare.
All right, Bart. It's up to you.
Okay. Cut in the primaries, Jim. Hold steady on those grids.
Right.
Kildare, will you do the sighting?
All right, Bart.
That poor child.
Parker, shut up.
It's dead on, Bart. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Secondary's at 28.25, Bart. Grids are in.
Here goes. All right, Jim. Cut her loose.
Good luck, honey.
Jeepers, she's sitting there and taking it without batting an eyebrow.
She's so brave. I just can't get over it.
She seems nervous, Jimmy. Starting to wet her lips, and nothing wrong, is there?
Heartbeat is steady. Blood pressure normal. No, everything's all right, Dr. Gillespie.
30 seconds.
Look, Dr. Gillespie, she must be all right. She's smiling.
Parker, that's the smile of a woman in love.
Why, I didn't know that. With whom?
With Kildare.
Well.
Now, it's the smile of a woman who's convinced she's going to live. A woman who's just got to live. All right, Wayman, let's get the door open and bring her out.
Okay, boys.
Well, she came through it okay, Dr. Gillespie.
I hope so, Jimmy. The guinea pig didn't die until the second day.
No, I'm not worried about that. All I'm hoping is that these treatments work. Of course, we realize some cancers aren't susceptible to this, but we won't know for 3 weeks or more.
Well, as far as I could see, everything worked like a charm, Kildare. When do you plan to give her the second treatment?
Oh, day after tomorrow, if she's feeling all right. And, nice work, boy.
Thanks.
Well, Dr. Kildare, was I not a good patient?
How do you feel?
Fine.
A little shaky's all.
Miss Parker's going to take you up to your room now. You can have breakfast whenever you want it. I'll see you a little later. And Miss Dane, you were a perfect patient.
Well, you know why, Dr. Kildare.
That's right, Bart. Treatment number 4 is scheduled for 10:30 in the morning. Right. Bye.
It's not that I mind the treatments, Dr. Kildare, but when are we going to know?
Still too soon to be able to tell, Miss Dane. You've just got to be patient, that's all.
I don't know, Jimmy. She's had 10 treatments now, and neither the x-rays nor the measurements show any change in the size of that cancer. I just don't know.
That's right. Treatment number 14, 9 tomorrow morning. All right, Mr. Miller. Goodbye.
X-rays again at 2 this afternoon. Why, Dr. Kildare? Nothing's going to happen. It's been over 2 months, and you told me 3 weeks.
Yes, I know, Miss Dane. Well, all we can do is to keep trying.
I'm sorry. All right, I'll be there at 2.
Good morning, Miss Dane.
Oh, Dr. Kildare. You've got my x-rays.
That's right. Dr. Gillespie and I just finished reading them.
What did... I mean, did they...
Skipping the technical details, the cancer is no longer malignant. It's starting to atrophy, decrease size. That's also borne out by the measurements we made yesterday.
Then you mean that...
I mean it should be completely absorbed within 2 months. Miss Dane, you're cured.
Oh, Dr. Kildare, I love you.
Well, I'm sure you think you do.
Oh, I don't think I do. I know it.
Well, let me put it this way. It's a psychological fact that women very often imagine themselves in love with their doctors. Of course, it's only temporary, but...
Oh, silly. I'm not that sort of giddy female. When I came to you, I was lost. I was scared. I knew I was going to die, and I didn't even care. But you made me care. You gave me hope and courage and faith, and I loved you for it.
Miss Dane,
So I put my life in your hands, and now you've given it back to me. That's why I say I love you. I'll never forget you. Jimmy, thank you for my life.
Thank me? Why? You know, I've always believed that life is the most precious stuff on this earth. That's why I'm a doctor, Janet. So if you did put your life in my hands, and if I did save it, then I'm humbly grateful for the chance.
In just a moment, we will return to the story of Dr. Kildare. Once again, the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Dr. Gillespie, you remember Janet Dane?
Dane? Janet Dane?
She was in here some months ago. You know, the first patient we treated after the Betatron was installed.
Oh, sure. Of course I remember her. Whatever happened to her?
Oh, she got cured and went away, bravely stifling her mad infatuation for me.
What?
Don't you remember? You had quite a theory at the time that Miss Dane was desperately in love with me.
Ah, confound it. She was in love with you. Probably still is. Jimmy, it's a psychological fact.
I know that every woman falls in love with her doctor at least once in her life. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty ridiculous theory, Dr.
Well,
Gillespie.
now, you don't know for sure just because the girl kept her feelings hidden.
Well, I know now, all right. She called me up this afternoon.
Well, now.
She wanted to tell me she was married last week.
Hmm?
Well, I guess I'd better get back to work. So long.
Bye.
Oh, Parker, How would you like to do me a favor?
Why, of course, Dr. Kildare.
Well, Gillespie's in there tearing a pet theory to pieces with his teeth.
What?
And let him stew for about 10 minutes. And then go in and tell him that the man Janet Dane married works over at the medical center. He's a research doctor.
You have just heard the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore. This program was written by Les Crutchfield and directed by William P. Russo. Original music was composed and conducted by Walter Schumann. Dick Joy speaking.
Right side of the picture. Remember, when you give the wearing parts of your car good protection, that helps it stay young and act young a long, long time. So give your automobile the modern method of lubrication, Gulflex registered lubrication. Here's why. First,
expert Gulflex operator works from a master chart of your model car, thus protects each wearing point in the chassis and body.
Second,
the Gulflex man uses not just 1 or 2 greases, but 6 special lubricants, especially developed by lubrication authorities.
And third, here's proof of how good these lubricants are.
In recent tests by Gulf engineers, Gulflex chassis lubricant, for instance, stayed in the shackles 30% better and lubricated nearly 100% longer than the average of competitive products tested.
So get Gulflex registered lubrication, a much better than usual grease job at no extra cost. Remember, too, that your good Gulf dealer is also ready with splendid motor oils and gasolines, such as Gulf No-Nox gasoline, the extra value gasoline that has been especially designed to stop harmful pounding and hammering inside your engine. Make it a habit to stop regularly at your neighborhood good Gulf dealers, your headquarters for making your car last longer.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
The Johnson Wax Program. The makers of Johnson's Wax and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn, with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. The show opens with Liza. Haven't you often noticed how important floors are in the appearance of a home? It is a fact that mellow, gleaming waxed floors bring out the beauty of everything in the room, adding a rich charm that you can acquire in no other way. Throughout America, there are countless floors that have been made more beautiful every year with genuine Johnson's Wax. Every application of this famous floor wax gives increased protection and beauty. Johnson's Wax gets down into the pores of the wood, seals out dirt, protects the finish against scuffing feet and sharp heels, and does away forever with tiresome floor scrubbing. There are more than 100 labor-saving uses for Johnson's Wax in your home. It protects and beautifies furniture and woodwork, windowsills, parchment lampshades, and leather goods. You'll find these extra uses listed on the familiar red and yellow package of genuine Johnson's Wax. You can buy this wax in either the paste or liquid form, or in the cream wax, specially formulated for furniture and woodwork. Try some tomorrow. Well, National Apple Week has come and gone. So is National Donut Week. But do you know what this is? This is National Gee Whiz, we positively got to make out that Christmas shopping list today for sure week. And here at 79 Wistful Vista, pens in hand, wrinkles in brow, and no ideas in mind, we find Fibber McGee and Molly.
Oh, for goodness sakes, McGee, think. You're not being any help at all on this Christmas list.
I'm thinking.
You're no such a thing. You're just sitting there drawing little pictures.
Well, Dad ratted all deep thinkers draw pictures while they're thinking. And what you draw shows what kind of a thinker you are. You see these triangles and circles with the dots in them? That shows that at heart I'm a big business tycoon.
You mean tycoon.
Tycoon was a ball player with Detroit.
That was Ty Cobb, dearie.
Well, then what's a typhoon?
It's a disease. My sister had typhoon and all her hair came out.
That's typhoid. Come to think of it, a typhoon is a big wind. Something like a Toronto.
Oh, so that scribbling of yours proves you're just a big wind, huh?
Oh, there's Mrs. Uppington. The slice of lemon in the social finger bowl.
To see her standing there with her head so high, you'd think she only had one chin. Come in.
Don't think she won't.
How do you do, Mrs. McGee? And Mr. McGee? I'm so glad you're at home. Would you care to take a few tickets on our Club Woman's raffle?
Oh, you're raffling off a club woman? No, thanks, Uppy. I wouldn't know what to do with her if I won.
Now, please, Mr. McGee.
Stop it, you big T.
Oh, well, shit.
What's the raffle for, Mrs. Uppington?
Oh, for a very worthy cause, my dear. Oh. We're going to present the city with a new statue.
Oh, a statue of who?
We'll think of somebody. And now, how many chances will you take?
Well, how much are the tickets, Abigail?
15 cents. And the first prize is a large sum in cash.
Okay, I'll take one.
Oh, so will I. Here's a quarter, Mrs. Uppington.
Here's a half a buck. You got change, Uppy?
Well, no, I haven't, Miss McGee. Now, let me see. I owe Mrs. McGee 10 cents and you 35 cents.
Yeah.
That's 45 cents that I owe you both. Oh, here, I have a dollar bill. Have you got 55 cents more in change?
Nope.
Me either. But I got another $50.
Oh, well, you let me take that. Then I think I can work it out. Now, let me see. I owe you 55 cents.
$1.05 with that other half I gave you.
Well, why don't you deduct the tickets, which is 30 cents from the half a buck I gave you, and... Oh, no, you can't do that. Well, why don't you take the quarter and... Oh, that won't do.
I tell you, how about... No.
Oh, I know. Now, here, you take this $50, and I... Oh, no, that's wrong, isn't it? Now, let me see. How much have I here?
$1.25, and we owe you 30 cents.
Yes, exactly. 30 cents from $1.25 is 95 cents. Now, has anyone a nickel?
Here's a nickel.
Oh, splendid. And here's $1.
Huh?
And here are your 2 tickets.
Oh,
and
thanks.
thank you so much. Goodbye.
$1.25, 2 tickets for 15 cents.
$1.35. That'll be. Let's see. I gave her a half a buck, and she. Hey, somebody got gypped on that deal. Was it us?
Well, search me. You ought to know. You're the big business Tyrone.
That's typhoon.
It is not. A typhoon is a bottle that squirts soda water.
That's a siphon.
Siphons are snakes.
Well, then what's a python?
A python is a snake that looks like
Gildersleeve.
Hello there, Mrs. McGee. Hello, Pipper.
Hi, Bucky.
Say, do you mind if I borrow my coal shovel?
Why, certainly not, Mr. Gildersleeve. You can borrow your coal shovel any time you want.
Yeah, but don't forget to bring it back, Gildy. Last time you borrowed your coal shovel, you kept it pretty near 2 weeks.
I'm awfully sorry about that, McGee. But I paid a lot of money for that coal shovel, and, well, I like to take a look at it now and then.
What you want it for? What did you want it for, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Well, I wasn't home this morning, and when they delivered my 5 tons of coal, the driver dumped it right on my front lawn.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yes. I called the coal company, and they said one of the neighbors told them to dump it there. If I ever lay my hands on the long-nosed, interfering, meddlesome fool...
Now, wait a minute, Gildersleeve. Be careful what you say about me.
So it was you, was it?
Was I?
McGee, you ruined my lawn. I've got to shovel 5 tons of coal into the basement.
Well...
And by George, you're going to help me.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Gildersleeve, if you ain't the most brazen, high-handed linthead I ever saw. Here I do you a favor by telling the coal men where to put the coal, and then you come barging in here and asking for your coal shovel to put the coal in the basement and demand that I help. Why, that's un-American.
I'd refuse to do it, dearie. He can't force you.
No.
Oh, I can't, eh?
No.
I'll drag him out there by the scruff of the neck.
Who drag who out by what scruff of whose neck? You lay one pinky on me, Gildersleeve, and I'll push your chest back up where it used to be.
You will, eh? Why, you little pupstart. I'll shake you till your eyes roll around like a pinball game.
Oh, yeah. You big muscle-bound muscle-bound moose. I'll choke you till that foghorn voice of yours sounds like a penny whistle. I'll do worse than that. Molly.
Yes, dearie.
Take Gildersleeve's name off of that Christmas list.
It isn't on.
Well, write it on and then scratch it off again. I'll just give somebody else that Daisy air rifle.
You're a hard man, McGee. Gee whiz, I've always wanted a Daisy air rifle. I'll bet you don't know what I was going to give you.
What?
I won't tell.
Oh, come on, I told you.
Well, but you're not going to do it. You're mad at me.
I ain't mad at you, Gil. Honest. What you going to give me?
Well... You know how you've always wanted a Boy Scout knife with 6 blades.
Oh, boy, a real scout knife, huh? One that's got a thing on it that you can hang it on your belt with?
Yeah.
Oh, I give up.
Look, Gildy, we shouldn't ought to argue like this here. It's too near Christmas. We ought to be full of goodwill and the Christmas spirit, brotherhood and love for your neighbor and all stuff like that there. I'll help you shovel in your dirty old coal.
It isn't just on account of I'm giving you that scout knife.
Gildersleeve, that knife never entered my mind.
Yeah? For a while there, I thought it was going to enter your throat. Now, if you two anthracite athletes are going to shovel that coal, go ahead and do it.
Okay. Get your coat and hat, McGee. It's pretty cold out there.
Okay. I got an old coat right here in this box.
Yeah, well, hurry up.
Gotta straighten up that closet one of these days. Come on, front yard Gildersleeve's got here, ain't it, Molly?
Oh, it's just beautiful.
Oh, it certainly is.
Even that big pile of coal is very effective.
Mm-hmm.
Contrasted with the white snow and all.
Hey, what are you two talking about? You've seen my front yard 1,000 times.
Pipe down, Gildersleeve. We're planting the scene.
Oh. Excuse me.
Well, get to work, boys. I can hardly wait to see McGee swing that shovel.
Don't worry about me. I ain't so bad.
Well, hello there, kid.
Oh, hi, old timer.
Hello there, old
buy
timer.
some plum pudding for the holidays? Best you ever ate. Make it myself.
Will it keep?
Indefinitely, daughter.
Fine. Ask us again next year.
Yeah, it's pretty good, Johnny. But that ain't the way I heard it.
Did you hear it?
The way I heard it. Wait a minute. How about you, Throckmorton? Want to order plum pudding?
No, I don't.
Good, not. The way I heard it, one feller says to t'other feller, say, he says, Hey, wait a minute. Either of you folks want to order any mincemeat?
Not me.
I don't believe so.
Okay. One feller says to t'other feller, say, says, I see you're listening to Fibber McGee and Molly. Gonna hear 'em again next week at this time? No, says t'other feller. Not if they're this week next time. Well, sorry you kids don't want any plum pudding. It's gonna be mighty good.
I didn't even know you could cook, old-timer.
Can't, Johnny. But if I get enough orders, by criminy, I'll learn. So long, kid.
All right, McGee, get busy.
You better start it off, Gildy. It's your shovel.
Well, we can't rush into this now.
Well, now, listen. One of you better start, or I'll go back to the house and bring Uncle Dennis over. He'll do it.
Oh, no. Get busy, Gildersleeve. Come on, snap in there.
All right.
That's it. There.
Oh. Now try shoveling some in with the window open.
I thought I told you to go down there and open that basement window, McGee.
I did open the basement window. You threw that in the living room. Here, let me take that shovel. I'll show you how it ought to be done. With rhythm.
What do you mean, rhythm?
He means you've really got to swing that coal, Porter. I didn't like it either. Hello, Mr. Wilcox.
Well, hello, folks.
Hi, Harlow.
What's the matter?
What you mean, what's the matter?
I mean the way Gildersleeve's staring at me. What have I done?
It's what you're going to do that fascinates me, my boy.
What's he going to do, Gildy?
You know as well as I do what he's going to do.
Huh?
He's going to give out with some advertising.
Well, so what?
I want to see how he gets into it, that's all. Two men standing over a pile of coal with a shovel. Now, how can he get into Johnson's self-polishing glow coat from that situation?
Why, it's perfectly simple. What happens when you shovel coal in the snow? You get your feet muddy. You track it into the kitchen. With your wife's care? Certainly not. Their kitchen linoleum is protected with Johnson's self-polishing glow coat, the no-rubbing polish that shines as it dries. All she has to do is wipe up the muddy tracks with a damp cloth. No rubbing, no scrubbing, no mopping. Why, Johnson's glow coat writes its own sales talk in this situation.
By George, I guess it does.
Didn't even have to give it any thought, did you, Mr. Wilcox?
Why, of course not. I just looked down at that pile of coal there in the snow, and there it was, in black and white. Well, I'll see you later, folks.
Someday, mark my words, that guy's going to get stumped. And you know what'll happen then?
No, what?
He'll cut the stump up into boards, build a floor, and cover it with linoleum and go on from there. Well, Gildy, what do you say we knock off for a little rest?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, for goodness sakes, you've thrown one shovelful of coal into that cellar and you stop to rest. I'm going to go back to the house and finish that Christmas shopping list.
Hey, Molly, make us a pot of coffee, will you? We'll be kind of tired and cold before long.
The way you've been working, I'd suggest tea and ladyfingers. I'll be back in a huff with the stuff.
Well, let's say we get going, Gildy.
Yes, I guess we better.
Yeah.
You start, McGee. I want to light a cigar.
No, you start. I want to unwrap a stick of gum.
Well, that's all right. No hurry.
Yeah.
This coal has been in the ground 2 million years. I guess it can wait 5 minutes longer.
I'll say so. It's the rush and scurry of modern living that's devitalizing the human race.
Yeah.
I made it. Some gum, Gildy?
No, thanks. Have a cigar?
No, thanks. There's nothing harder in the world than shoveling coal, is there?
Hi, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, hello, little girl.
Hi, sis.
Hi. What you doing? Who's watching?
We're shoveling this coal into Mr. Gildersleeve's basement, and we're very busy. So you better run
We
along.
got steam heat in our house, I betcha.
Well, so have I, little girl.
Oh, and what you want the coal for?
The coal is what makes the steam, sis.
Oh.
That's right, little girl.
How can all that black coal make all that white steam?
Now, look, sis, we ain't got time to delve into the physical and chemical aspects of the matter, but roughly, the steam is a result of combustion in the form of a vapor. You know what a vapor is?
Sure I do, I betcha. We got one on our windshield.
Oh, my goodness. Windshield vapor. No, little girl. Let me explain this. Steam is the result of the evaporation of water under extreme heat. Now, you know what makes the whistle blow on a steam engine.
Sure. The engineer.
Now, wait a minute, sis. The simple fact remains that we got to get this coal shoveled in, see?
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody else, Mr. Gildersleeve has got to keep warm this winter, you know.
Gee, does everybody in the world use coal, mister?
Practically, yes.
Well, with few exceptions, such as Ireland. In Ireland, they burn peat.
Pete who?
Not peat anybody, just peat.
Oh, an orphan, huh?
No, not an orphan. A peat, little girl, is semi-carbonized vegetable matter.
Well, gee...
You better let me handle this, Gildersleeve. Now, look, little girl.
All righty.
I'll try to explain.
Gee, that'll be peachy, mister. Go ahead.
I will if you'll quit interrupting me. You see, the coal...
I won't interrupt you anymore, I bet you.
That's fine. Now then, you see...
Because interrupting people isn't polite, is it?
No, it isn't. Now, for the love of Pete.
If you love Pete, why do you burn him?
Oh, sure. Take it, Gildy.
Okay. Now, look here, little girl. We're very busy, so you run along and play so we can...
I can't, I bet you. Not till I give you the message.
What message?
My daddy went hunting and he brought back a deer. He wants to know if you and Mr. McGee can come over tomorrow night for a vanishing dinner.
Oh, you mean a venison dinner, don't you, sis?
Do I?
Sure.
Okay.
You tell your father we'll be delighted to come, little girl.
Tell him that for me, too, sis. This is the first we ever been invited to your house.
Yes, first time for me also.
I know it. Papa said he couldn't resist the opportunity, I bet you.
What opportunity? This is just a venison dinner, isn't it?
Sure, but he said he could hardly wait to see you two passing the buck to each other at close range.
The King's Men sing The Bad Humor Man.
Hey, little kitties, do you hear that noise?
Better fly. Better fly.
Better fly. Here comes the enemy of girls and boys.
What a guy. What a guy.
What a guy. Hear his bell. Hear him yell. Drop your philosophies and drop your toys and run pell-mell. Ting-a-ling, ting-a-ling, ting-a-ling. It's the Bad Humor Man. Ting-a-ling, ting-a-ling, ting-a-ling. With a frown on his pan. Oh, he hates his job and he hates his beat.
He hates everyone on the street.
So he sings ting-a-ling, ting-a-ling as he goes on his way. With his wagon rumbling, he keeps grumbling. Gee, it's an awful day. Up every morning at the break of day.
What a life. What a life.
What a life. Cold cup of coffee on the breakfast tray.
What a wife. What a wife.
What a wife. All day long, things go wrong. So as he wanders on his weary way, he sings this song. Ting-a-ling, ting-a-ling, ting-a-ling. I'm the Bad Humor Man.
Ting-a-ling, ting-a-ling, ting-a-ling.
I got a frown on my pan. Oh, I don't like anything, no siree. I hate people and they hate me. Grouchy old feller indeed is he. Ought to hang him to a sour apple tree. Come along, come along, come along. We can stop him today. When he starts in grumbling, send him tumbling on. Here's that Bad Humor Man.
I know you're just as grimy, but are you as groggy as I am, Gildersleeve?
I'm pretty tired, McGee, but it's good for us. Gives tone to the muscles.
Yeah, and at the next tone signal, that's my muscle signing off. If it wasn't for that scalp knife you're giving me, Gildersleeve, oh, here comes Molly with a hot coffee.
Welcome, Mrs. McGee, welcome.
Well, which one of you boys is Amos?
Now, don't twit us, Molly. We're all wore out.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Will Mammy's little cold black rose have a mug of jabbing?
Yeah, thanks.
You know, this is mighty nice of you, Mrs. McGee.
No, not at all, not at all. How many lumps, Mr. Gildersleeve?
There's about a half a ton there. Will be... Oh, you mean sugar. Yeah. 2, please, and a few drops of cream.
Well, a cream shake, Fisher, and Mrs. McGee and Mr. Gildersleeve. Hello.
Good day, Mr.
Hello, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Hey, I don't like to be making any derogatory remarks, but why don't you wash your faces? My goodness, I didn't know you could get so dirty on the radio.
Well, you can't shovel coal without getting a little grimy, Nick.
Too bad you weren't here a couple of hours ago, Mr. DePoplis. You could have helped them.
Oh, not me, Cupid. It's too strenuous for me. My doctor says I must not do any violent exercises. You know, arthritis.
Oh, have you got arthritis?
Sure, he's my doctor, Dr. Stenopoulos Arthritis.
Well, what's he treating you for, Nick?
$2 a visit.
Oh, what have you got?
$1.50, but my credit is good, sweetie.
Now, this isn't getting us any place.
Where do you want to get, Cupid? My car is right around the corner.
No, it's just an expression, Mr. DePoplis. I'm not going anywhere. I'm waiting to see these 2 chevaliers get the rest of that coal in.
We just stopped for a breathing spell, Mrs. McGee.
You don't mind if we breathe, do you?
I don't care if you have bell-bottom pants. But I wish you'd get through and clean yourself up.
Me too, Cupid. I think they are disgraceful to the neighborhood. You know what I would do if I was shoveling all that coal?
What would you do?
I wouldn't do it. Well, I'd better be getting along, and don't forget, we want you all to come over to our house for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving? Hey, that's 11 months and 2 weeks away.
We can wait. So long now.
Come on, boys. Get busy. You'll catch coal standing around here like this.
Okay, Mrs. McGee. I'll take the rest of it.
Nice going, Gildersleeve.
Thanks, chum. And I'll have to admit you've been a great help to me.
Oh, it was nothing that any red-blooded, clean-living American boy wouldn't have done, Gildersleeve.
Oh, yes, it was, McGee.
Huh?
My goodness, the way you've toiled and slaved to help me today, with your little biceps quivering and your frail little legs tottering.
Oh. I ain't got legs like a frail. Don't you get him, Molly? He says something about my frail little legs.
Ain't funny, McGee.
Oh, well, they're all tired anyway.
Now, come on. Put your coat on before you catch your death of cold.
My coat? Where did I put my... Hey, you know what I done?
No, what'd you do, McGee?
When I went down to open your cellar window, I laid my coat down on the basement floor. And you know where it is now? Down there in your basement under 5 ton of coal. It's a good thing it's an old coat.
I'll give it back to you in the spring, McGee.
For goodness sakes, McGee, I don't think that's anything to laugh about. Go down there right away and dig it out.
Oh, no, sir, not me. I'm all wore out now. I was good.
Mr. McGee.
Huh?
Oh, Mr. McGee, I have wonderful news for you.
What is it, Mrs. Uppington?
You won first prize on our raffle.
What?
Well, that's
Honest?
wonderful.
I won first prize?
Yes,
on
you
the
did. Now, give me the ticket, Mr. McGee, and I'll give you the prize right now.
The tickets?
Yes, the raffle tickets, McGee. Where are they?
Why, hey, I left them tickets in my coat pocket, and my coat is down under the... Oh, no. No. I wouldn't shovel 5 ton of coal again for $100.
Oh, but Mr. McGee, the prize is $100.
What? It is? Give me that shovel, Gildersleeve, and get out of my way.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to shovel 5 tons of coal again for $100. Come on.
How many hours of work do you save in a year by using Johnson's self-polishing glow coat? Well, it's a good many, I can tell you. Enough to do plenty of other things. Bridge, movies, playing with your children, or just plain and fancy sitting around. Glow Coat is a valuable time saver. It does away with tiresome floor scrubbing and requires no rubbing or buffing. Practically no work at all from you. And yet Glow Coat makes your floors very beautiful, keeps the colors of your linoleum bright and fresh, makes the linoleum last longer. It's no wonder Johnson's Glow Coat has gone on month after month, increasing in popularity. If you're not a Glow Coat fan, try this easy-to-use floor polish just once on your kitchen floor. Oh, and by the way, when you're looking for a practical, inexpensive Christmas gift for your friends, why not consider either Johnson's Wax or Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat? I can assure you they'll be as welcome as they are useful.
5 tons of coal. measly $100. Silly me to bury my coat like this. Look at these calluses. Okay, Molly, okay, you've done enough. Hand me the shovel, I'll do the rest. Good night.
Good night, all.
This is Harlow Wilcox, speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat, inviting you to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
If you're the proud owner of one of those handsome new two-tone cars, let me make this suggestion. Keep the finish beautiful by protecting it occasionally with Car New, Johnson's sensational new auto polish. Car New will keep the finish looking like new and will save you work in the bargain because Car New actually cleans and wax polishes in one operation, 2 jobs at one and the same time. No longer is wax polishing expensive or laborious. Whether your car is old or new, give it this modern beauty treatment. Ask your dealer for Johnson's Car New, spelled C-A-R-N-U. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Waiter! Waiter! Phil, did you ever see such poor service? I'm going to call the manager.
Take it easy, Walt. What's mostly wrong is your grouse.
I'm sorry, Phil, but my digestion is so upset.
What you may need for your poor digestion is something that works after nature's own order. Try Carter's Little Liver Pills.
Good advice. When your digestion is upset and you feel headachy and irritable, take Carter's Little Liver Pills. You see, each day nature normally produces about 2 pints of a vital digestive juice to help digest your food. If nature fails, your food may remain undigested, leaving you headachy and irritable. To feel cheerful and happy again, take Carter's Little Liver Pills. They increase the flow of this vital digestive juice quickly, often in as little as 30 minutes, and you're on the road to feeling better. Don't depend on artificial aids to counteract indigestion when Carter's Little Liver Pills aid digestion after nature's own order. Take Carter's Little Liver Pills as directed. Get them at any drugstore, only 25 cents.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you one of those people who like to know the answer? Have you a logically and analytical nature? Does murder and mystery fascinate you? It does, huh? Well, get out the magnifying glass, Sherlock. I think it's time for a crime. Yes, sure. This is Peter Lorre opening again the doors of the Mystery Playhouse. And tonight, we bring you detective mystery, and you're all invited to try to solve it, along with another amateur dick, a guy named Jonathan Pierce. Mr. Pierce earns his 3 squares a day selling antiques, but his real love is criminology. A hobby that seems to make his life anything but dull. Well, let's give Mr. Pierce a run for his hobby, huh? So, let's try and beat him to the solution of tonight's mystery. Clues will be all there. So let's look alive now, mates, and get the answers to a crime to fit the punishment.
Our scene opens in the antique shop of Jonathan Pierce. With him is a friend, Betty Hughes.
Look, Jonathan, why don't you give up this antique shop and become a full-fledged private detective? After all, you've been very successful. Besides, I'm yearning for a life of excitement and mystery.
Meaning?
Meaning I'll be your assistant.
Nothing doing. If I need an assistant, it won't be a woman. You'd probably faint the first time a mug said boo at you.
Faint? Well, of course I'd faint if that was a thing to do. Furthermore, I think
Some other time, here comes a customer.
Young man, are you Jonathan Pierce? I am. What can I do for you, sir? That's what I'm here to find out. Who's the young lady? Oh, this is... Never mind answering. I was young once myself.
Pierce, I want to hire your services as a private detective.
How did you know that?
I'm David Warlock. Used to be called Warlock Tycoon, filthy with money. All the Warlocks are. So I'm able to pay well.
Well, that's very nice.
My son, Freddie, is about to be blackmailed. Actually, my adopted son. His father was my business partner before he died. And he knew Freddie was a weak-willed lad, so he wanted me to look after him and his inheritance. Goes by my name now, and I won't stand for blackmail.
Blackmail? Do you have any...
Don't interrupt, Pierce. I'm not through yet. Freddie's been playing around with a young lady named Ruth Day, a gambler by the name of Lance Norman. Nothing wrong with women in gambling. Used to like both myself. But these two are bad ones.
Oh, and you think they're blackmailing your son? Your adopted son?
Going to blackmail him, or rather me.
Well, how's that?
Well, it amounts to blackmailing him. But they have to come to me because I still control his inheritance. Are you a detective, young lady?
Why, no.
Well, then don't ask questions and waste my time.
Mr. Warlock, what did you mean by saying that they're going to blackmail you?
Well, I had a phone call yesterday, just after I got back from Mortonville. From uptown. Mysterious voice said he had something concerning my son which he wanted to sell. Didn't identify himself, but said he'd call again in a day or two.
I see. Well, you'll give me a free hand in dealing with this blackmailer?
Completely. Now, Pierce, here's a $500 retainer.
Oh?
I want you to come to my house, meet my son, and the two I suspect of being back of this blackmail scheme. I'll drive you out.
All right. Oh, but there is one more question, sir, I've been trying to ask since you came in here. How did you come to hire me? I suppose it's because you heard of my reputation in solving a few little crimes that baffled the police.
On the contrary, never heard anything like that.
Oh.
Take a bow, Sherlock.
Quiet character. Well, then, well, why, Mr. Warlock?
Well, I always liked the name of Pierce. I once was in love with a woman named Pierce 30 years ago. Always hired people named Pierce since then. Chauffeur's name's Pierce, butler's name's Pierce, gardener's name's Pierce.
Oh, it sounds very logical to me.
It would to you.
Now, Jonathan, I want you to come over to my house and size up the situation. Are you ready to go?
Oh, I'll say we are.
Not you, young lady. You're staying here.
Now, listen here, Jonathan Pierce. I'm going to hate you if you turn to one of those big, stronger woman's places in the home, men.
Goodbye, dear. Just use some of that slow burn to keep the home fires cooking.
Well, this is my little home, Jonathan, my boy. That was Pierce who left it in.
Oh.
I imagine that we'll find Freddie and his friends in the library, so come. All right? I'll leave you with them for a few minutes so you can size them up.
Well, how are you going to explain me to them, Mr. Warlock?
Oh, don't worry about that. Now then, here we are. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I want you all to meet a young friend of mine, Mr. Jonathan Pierce. Jonathan, this is Miss Rita Dane, Mr. Lance Norman, and my son, Freddie Warlock. I'll leave you to get acquainted. Goodbye.
Well.
Not so well. It would seem that Mr. Warlock does not exactly possess the delicate touch.
He is screwy. Who are you, chum?
Oh, I thought you knew. Oh, I'm Jonathan Pierce. And you're Lance Norman, the Lido Club. Fast gambling for fast people.
And what do? You don't look like a bodyguard or a keyhole snooper.
Oh, I haunt houses. I've just been hired to haunt this one.
A wise guy. Every time a guy starts talking wise like that, you want to watch him. He's liable to start lifting the silverware.
Now, you look here, Pierce. Did my father hire you to snoop on us? He's always hiring people named Pierce. Well, if he did, you might as well know I'm going to marry Rita whether he wants me to or not. All I got to do is wait another 6 months. Then I get all my own dough and I can do just as I please, you see?
Oh, don't bother explaining to him, Freddie Doll.
Now, look, both of you keep quiet and let me handle this. Look, chum, I don't like the way the old man dumped you in here and walked off. What's the payoff?
Well, we might as well get everything straight. I'm an antique dealer.
Whose hobby is playing detective, huh?
Something like that.
A Seamus, huh? Gee, they're even getting private cops now who wear neckties.
I thought I smelled copper when you walked in.
Well, get this, cop. These two kids are in love. They're floating on the clouds.
I'm not surprised. The kid's breath has enough alcohol on it to make me float on the clouds, too.
I suppose the old man pays you for being funny. Anyway, these kids can't live without each other, see? So just keep your nose out of the picture, or it might get stepped on.
How touching. And I suppose you're the marriage broker, or maybe you're just here to chaperone them.
Well, what is it, Pierce?
I beg your pardon, but Mr. Warlock would like to see Mr. Jonathan Pierce in his den immediately.
Oh, thank you, Pierce. I'll be seeing you later, lad.
I can hardly wait, Seamus.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Warlock?
Yes, Jonathan. Here on the telephone. It's the blackmailer I told you about. Oh. Pierce recognized it as the same voice as called yesterday, and I wanted you to listen in on my conversation with him. You can use that extension over there.
Oh, all right.
Go ahead. Hello? This is Warlock speaking.
This is the same guy that called you yesterday, Warlock. I got a little piece of paper about your son that the police would like to get their fingers on. But I, might be willing to sell it.
Yes? How much?
$5,000. You want to talk about it, or do I go to the cops?
No. I'll talk about it. I won't meet for myself, but I'll send someone I can trust. You name the place.
Okay. Send the guy to 4527 Fernando Place. Tell him to ring the bell under the name of Clip Matson. I'll let him in, and if he's got the $5,000, we'll talk.
Are you Mr. Matson?
Never mind who I am. Just do as I say. And Warlock,
Yes.
don't try any fancy stuff, or your son will end up in a big house. So tell that guy to hurry up.
You heard him, Jonathan?
Yes.
I've got $5,000 right here, and you'll take it with you. I leave it up to your judgment as to whether to give it to him or not. But remember one thing.
What's that?
If Lance Norman and Rita Dane are back of this, as I suspect they are, I'll pay any amount over and above this to pin it on them. Now, you go see this Clip Matson and see what you can do.
Yeah? What do you want?
Are you Clip Matson?
Maybe I am, and maybe I ain't. What are you selling, Mac?
My name is Jonathan Pierce. I'm representing David Warlock.
Oh, okay, I'm Matson. Come in. Did you bring the dough?
Maybe. First, I want to see what you're offering to sell. And while you're at it, Matson, maybe you'd like to make another $5,000 all for yourself.
What do you mean?
I mean that the name of the man who's working this with you is worth another $5,000 to you.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mac. There ain't nobody in this with me.
Oh?
I just found this information I'm offering to sell, that's all.
Well, they tell me it gets awfully lonesome up in Sing Sing.
Now, wait a minute, Mac. You don't want to talk like that to me. I might get scared and decide I ought to turn this over to the cops. Maybe I ought to anyway.
Suit yourself. We're really more interested in getting the name of the man back of you than in anything else. I might be able to raise the price a little.
But I tell you... Hey, what's the idea of walking in here, mister?
What's going on?
Oh! You suck Pierce. What's the idea? Okay, I got my hands up. Hey! Take it easy with that gun. No! Oh. You...
Jonathan! Jonathan, wake up!
Oh.
Jonathan!
What? Oh, hello.
Hello.
Oh, so this is what heaven's like. Eh?
Now, stop that, Jonathan. Are you hurt?
No, Betty. No, outside of a lump on my head. Oh, boy, it could serve as a road marker. A headache and a certain loss of pride. I feel fine, just fine. Did Clip Matson get away?
I don't think so. There's a man over here on the floor, but I haven't asked him his name because he's dead.
Dead? But how?
Well, I'm not up on these things, Jonathan, but I imagine the 2 bullet holes in him have something to do with it.
Bullet holes? Oh, I remember now. I sort of heard 2 shots just as I was drifting out of this world. Up to the nose. Here, let's see. Yes, that's Clip Matson, all right. But why?
Well, maybe somebody didn't like him.
Oh, you're a big help. By the way, what are you doing here? I thought I left you at the store.
Well, you did, darling, but you see, I'm the type that feels men need looking after, so
Oh.
I followed you. First to Warlock's and then here, and you ought to be grateful.
Well, it's touching to know that someone is interested in whether I'm alive or dead.
Jonathan, what happened?
And I was talking to Clip there. He was the guy who was trying to blackmail Warlock. Suddenly, somebody came in the door behind me.
The murderer!
Exactly, my dear Watson. I started to turn around, and the guy slugged me.
Huh.
All I got a chance to see was a hand wearing a gray glove and the barrel of a gun that was rapidly nearing my head. That's the last I remember, except for the 2 shots. Boy, some detective I turned out to be.
Oh, well, don't be too hard on yourself, Jonathan. It could have happened to anyone.
Yeah, sure, but it happened to me. All right, come on. We've got to give this apartment a fast once-over to see if we can find that paper Matson wanted to sell. You take that side, and I'll take this side.
Well, I finished my side, and I found nothing incriminating, except to your Cliff Matson.
He's not my Cliff Matson. I drew a blank here, except for one thing. A check signed by Lance Norman.
Lance who?
Lance Norman. That's the gambler Warlock thinks is back of the blackmailing. All right, come on. We're going to see Mr. Lance Norman at the Lido Club.
But I haven't got my chips with me.
This is the club, Lido, Betty. If you look around you, you'll see half the elite of our city busily engaged in losing their shirts to Lance Norman.
Very exciting, Jonathan.
Well. Hello there, Pierce.
Why, Lance, hello.
Well, is this a business visit or a social one?
Oh, let's call it a business visit, shall we? Is there some place that I can talk to you?
Why not? Come on in my office here.
Oh, thank you.
Come on, you'll be just as safe in here as out on the floor.
Safer, probably. There don't seem to be any wheels in here.
You know, your sense of humor is going to kill me someday. If it doesn't kill you first. Does the chick have a name?
Oh, of course, my
Not
name...
to you, Lance, no. Do you know a Cliff Matson?
I might. And I might not.
He probably did a lot of odd jobs for you. Such as blackmail.
I don't need any sideline as long as I have this club. It pays off very nicely.
Cliff had one of your checks, which he hadn't cashed.
Well, I write a lot of checks.
Jonathan, he talks exactly like the gamblers in the movies.
Well, I like a dame with nerves. Anytime you get tired of that dumb Seamus, come around and see me, sweetheart.
Well, maybe I will.
If you do, it'll be on a visiting day, and you'll have to talk to him through bars.
Not this week, Seamus. Look, if you've got any more questions to ask, get them over with. If not, get out.
Where's your girlfriend, Rita?
She's out on the floor.
And the Warlock boy?
He got drunk on us, so we left.
Oh, that must have been a touching scene. The parting lovers.
Okay, chum, on your way. You're beginning to bore me.
We're practically gone. Oh, by the way, Lance, do you own a pair of gray suede gloves?
Maybe. And maybe not.
Well, your eloquence is touching. Come on, Betty, let's go. You've done enough slumming for one day.
I wonder what you think you're up to, Jonathan Pierce. First we go and visit that gambler, Lance Norman, then we rush over to this apartment house and walk up the stairs, and there's a perfectly good elevator to ride up in.
Lance Norman's apartment is on this next floor.
Oh, it is?
We didn't find the blackmail evidence in Cliff's apartment, so now we're going to look in Lance's. There we are. Now, to see if this skeleton key works.
How do you know there isn't somebody in there?
Lance lives alone and the apartment is dark. I looked from the outside. Now, don't bother me. There. I got it. Okay, in you go, dear. I don't think we'd better risk turning on the room lights. We'll use matches to see how...
Who turned on that light?
I did. Just take it nice and easy, both of you, and this gun won't go off.
Lance Norman...
Jonathan, I thought you said there wouldn't be anybody here.
Oh, I'm wrong. Go ahead and sue me.
Well, not so smart, are you, Seamus? I figured you'd come prying around my apartment since you didn't get anything out of me at the club. Too bad I got here first, huh?
Okay, so you got here first. What do we do now?
What we have to do, Seamus. You know, it's too bad you both look too young to die.
You mean you're going to shoot us? Oh, no, please, not that. Jonathan, I think I'm going to faint.
Hey, turn them lights back on.
Please, Mr. Norman, don't shoot. I didn't mean to turn out the lights. It was just that I almost fainted, you see, and I bumped into them, and I'll turn them right on again. Only please don't shoot. I don't want to die, Mr. Norman. I don't want to die.
Stop it, I said. Let go of me. Hey, let go.
That was nice work, Betty.
Thank you.
You can turn the lights on now. Our friend won't bother us anymore. Oh, boy. Come on, now, let's search the place. You take that side of the room, and I'll take this.
Jonathan, what did you say the name of that girl was?
Huh?
Rita Dane?
Yes, why?
Well, I think I found something then. There's a marriage license here made out to Lance Norman and Rita Dane, dated 2 years ago.
Good. I found something, too. Come in here, Betty.
Oh, what is it, Jonathan?
What we're looking for. Look, this was in an envelope with Warlock written on it. It's a photostat of 2 sets of fingerprints exactly alike. And a newspaper clipping from an out-of-town paper dated 2 weeks ago.
Well, what's it say?
I'll read the clipping to you. Mortonville, New York. Sometime last night, thieves broke into the Mortonville Third National Bank and made off with more than $10,000 in cash. The thieves left no trace behind them except a small metal case which probably held some of their tools. Fortunately, the Mortonville police were able to get a clear set of fingerprints from the case. They have not yet been able to identify the prints.
A bank robbery.
Yes, and one set of prints on the photostat is labeled prints taken by the Mortonville police. The other set is labeled fingerprints of Freddie Warlock, and they're identical.
You mean that the son robbed the bank? Then... Oh, Jonathan, maybe he's the one who murdered
I'm beginning to see a lot of things I didn't see before.
Huh.
We're going over to the Warlock house, but in a hurry. Come on. Hello, Pierce. Will you tell Mr. Warlock that Mr. Jonathan Pierce is here?
You may go in, Mr. Pierce. You'll find everyone in the library. The police, too, sir.
The police?
Yes, sir. I believe they're about to leave and take young Mr. Warlock with him, sir.
What?
He's been here quite some time.
Come on, Betty. We've got to hurry.
Jonathan, my boy, you're just in time. This fool policeman insists upon arresting my son.
Well, if it isn't Jonathan Pierce. Hello, Lieutenant Valley. What's happening here?
Well, it's like this, Pierce. We got a phone call tipping us Clip Matson was murdered.
Oh?
We investigated. In Matson's pocket, I found a photostat of a story about a bank robbery up in Mortonville. And proof that young Freddie Warlock pulled the job.
Pocket, so that's where it was.
What's that?
Oh, nothing, Lieutenant. Go on, please.
I got the idea that maybe Clip was blackmailing the kid and the kid bumped him off.
But how could I kill anyone I didn't know, huh?
Of course he didn't do it. The whole thing's stupid. Freddie was with us all afternoon and dead drunk when we left. Weren't you, Freddie?
Lieutenant, you've got some pretty flimsy evidence, haven't you?
You think so? We gave the kid the paraffin test and it showed traces of nitrate on his hands.
Oh?
That proves he fired a gun. So I'm taking him in.
Out that nonsense.
I wish you'd wait a minute, Lieutenant. I think I can clear up a few points for you. With the help of Mrs. Lance Norman.
What do you mean, Mrs. Norman? It's Miss Rita Dane.
I'm sorry, Freddie, but it's Rita Norman. She and Lance were married 2 years ago.
That's right, and I saw the license.
And with the help of Clip Matson, they've been trying to blackmail you. You'll find another one of those photostats in Lance's apartment.
You can't prove a thing.
Good work, Jonathan. I knew you'd do it.
Look, Pierce. You think Lance did the killing, too?
No. Lance didn't do it.
Who did then? The kid?
No. The killing was done by my client, David Warlock.
Jonathan, what kind of nonsense is this?
No nonsense at all. Warlock's been handling the inheritance of Freddie, and I suspect you'll find it short.
Well,
Freddie was due to collect in 6 months, however, so Warlock thought of framing him for killing Clip Matson.
But how did he know this blackmailer would show up?
Because he planned it that way. He robbed the bank at Mortonville and planted Freddie's fingerprints on the scene. Then I imagine he saw to it that this evidence was placed where Rita and Lance could get hold of it and pass it on to Clip. The blackmailer was to be killed and Freddie framed for it, and I was called in for window dressing.
It's got an utterly fantastic story. Fortunately, no one will believe it.
Jonathan, this sounds awfully pat.
Well, certainly it's pat. It was planned to be a way to eliminate Freddie. A crime to fit the punishment.
I don't know. What about the paraffin test on the kid?
Simple, Lieutenant. The kid's drunk and out cold. So all Warlock has to do is take some dirt, rub it on the kid's hand, and there's your traces of nitrate.
That's right. You got any proof of the rest?
Well, the motive should be easy to check. Warlock made a slip today about being in Mortonville. Then I imagine you'll find a pair of gray suede gloves in Mr. Warlock's room, and the gloves should show traces of nitrate. Finally, Warlock was the only person who knew I was going to meet Matson.
Very clever, Mr. Pierce. But let's see if you can outsmart this.
A gun! Just like in the movie.
Now, look, Mr. Warlock.
Shut up! Get away from that door, Lieutenant. I'm leaving.
Oh, Jonathan, I think I'm going to faint.
What again?
Of course you don't.
Oh, yes. Go right ahead. I'll catch you.
What is this? None of your tricks, you.
No tricks, Mr. Warlock. I just can't stand the sight of a gun. Oh.
Turn those lights back on.
Like this, Mr. Warlock? Okay, Betty. Lights, please.
Coming up.
Holy smokes, Warlock is out cold. The gal faints and Pierce conks Warlock. A very nice trick.
Well, think nothing of it. We do it twice a day.
Yes. Well, I think that clears up your case, Lieutenant. And as for you, sweetheart, you asked me a while ago for a job as my assistant. The job is yours.
Your assistant? Are you kidding? This detective works such a cinch, I'm going to business for myself.
And there you crime to fit the punishment. Tonight's performance in a mystery playhouse. How did you come out, huh? You put the finger on the right guy? No. Oh, don't be discouraged if you didn't, because the only people who consistently get the right answers are the ones who write them. Oh, speaking of writing, don't forget that we still like to hear from you. Just address us, Mystery Playhouse, Armed Forces Radio, Los Angeles, USA. Oh, while we are on the subject, I'd like to say a word or two about female. I just finished reading a few facts that I'd like to pass on to you. Did you know that your V-mail letter has priority over all other mail? That's right. The only mail that always flies. It's never delayed or left behind because of lack of plane space. So it looks to me like a smart thing to do is for everybody to use it all we can. Especially since use of V-mail definitely helps shorten the war. Oh, I almost forgot about our trip to the green room. Come on, we better get down there right now and listen in on our next Mystery Playhouse performance. Follow me, please. Come.
Yes, sir, just a minute.
Look, Chief, I think I better go out.
Chief Magruder, it's the mayor.
The mayor? Martin, you stay here then. Yes, Mr. Mayor. How'd you hear about it so fast? Well, I suppose the newspapers will make a big... But I'm doing everything I can. Oh, Reynolds, eh? Oh, why should he... Yes, Mr. Mayor. Yes, Mr. Mayor. Goodbye. What goes, Chief? Plenty. Whole town is upside down. Relatives are jamming the morgue, trying to identify the dead. The Citizens Committee is planning a mass meeting tomorrow to demand action. Every newspaper in town is roasting the city administration. What do we do, Chief? You? You do nothing till you hear from me. Miss Myers, my hat. Where you going? The mayor's office. The mayor and I and that columnist Reynolds are going to have a little conference. Reynolds? Yeah. The mayor seems to think Reynolds knows more about this thing than the police department.
Answer me this, Magruder. Answer me this. Has there been a murder? Are these accidents murders?
Maybe there aren't any murders, Mr. Mayor. Not in the ordinary sense.
I believe there is, Magruder.
Just a minute, Reynolds. Your Honor, except for the panic at the movie house, every death was accidental or natural as sure as we three are in this room.
What do you mean? What about the man in the velvet hat?
Put the screws on some of the people who say they saw him, and he'd disappear like that.
Forget it. To the people of this town, he's real. And this panic, cold panic, right in the middle of the holidays. The people are scared blue.
May I say something, Mr. Mayor?
Well, certainly, that's why you're here.
Look, the way I see it, either it's all a hoax or there is a man in a velvet hat.
That's right. So either prove the hoax or catch the man.
All right. I think we can do one or the other. If Reynolds will help.
Well, certainly I'll help.
How? I'm going to challenge the man in the velvet hat, and Reynolds is going to publish that challenge. I'm going to say I don't think he's a god. I'm going to say I don't even think he's a good criminal. Anybody can boast of a murder after it's happened, but only a master criminal can boast of a murder before it's happened and get away with it. I'm going to challenge him to name his next murder before it happened. And Reynolds will publish my challenge.
Okay, Magruder. But I predict that he'll accept your challenge, and that when he does, you will not catch him.
And in his newspaper column, December 24th, John Reynolds says,
A challenge from the police commissioner of New York City to the man in the velvet hat. Quote, I challenge you to prove that you were a criminal. I think you're a fraud. If you're not a fraud, you will announce in advance the time and place of your next killing, murder, mercy, death, whatever you call it. Unquote. Hello, this is Reynolds of the Dispatch. Give me the commissioner. Please hurry.
Just a minute, Mr. Reynolds. Hold on.
Yeah?
Magruder, Reynolds.
Yeah, Reynolds.
I got an answer from the man in the velvet hat.
You got... What's he say?
He says at precisely 9 o'clock p.m. on Christmas Eve, a man will die poisoned in front of the Times building on Times Square. He says, quote, After this, I will move again in silence, for only those without faith need signs. That's all.
9:00 Christmas Eve in front of the Times building by poison.
That's what he says.
Okay. Thanks.
Here, my friends, we have a portion of our next mystery, and an exciting one it is, too. The town of New York is turned into turmoil by the appearance of what seems to be the master of all mad killers. So you better be on hand to hear the entire show, don't you think? Yes, I think we can give you the creeps when you join us the next time for The Man with a Velvet Hat. This is Peter Lorre, closing the doors of the Mystery Playhouse. Good night. Sleep tight. This is the Armed Forces Radio Service.
In the month just ahead, there will be many days that are cloudy and gray. Isn't it very important on such days to have your home bright and cheerful? Your kitchen especially, where you spend so many hours? There's one thing that will brighten your kitchen more than anything else. Gleaming linoleum floors kept fresh and spotless with Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat. Glow Coat requires no rubbing or buffing. There's practically no work to it. You just apply Glow Coat, it shines while it dries with no further work from you. It not only keeps your floors beautiful, but it actually makes linoleum last many times longer than an unprotected floor. Glow Coat is safe, easy to use, and sure to please. Try some tomorrow on your floors. Ask for Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat. GLO-COAT.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
From Hollywood, the NBC Theater presents...
Screen Directors Guild assignment. Production, The Prisoner of Zenda. Director, John Cromwell. Star, Ronald Colman.
The NBC Theater presents the Screen Directors Guild production of a romantic fiction, The Prisoner of Zenda, with its original team of screen director John Cromwell and screen star Ronald Colman, who co-stars tonight with Benita Hume. Some 22 years ago, the new dimension of sound threw the motion picture medium into a ferment. The call went out for experts in the spoken word, and to Hollywood came a handful of seasoned stage directors. Many of them remain to devote the full sweep of their talent to motion picture directing, helping to develop and establish the film medium we know today. Outstanding among these is our guest tonight, universally respected for his brilliant direction of such films as Anna and the King of Siam, The Enchanted Cottage, Night Song, and, of course, tonight's story, The Prisoner of Zenda. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Cromwell.
Thank you very much. The Prisoner of Zenda is a story you probably won't believe. That's part of its charm and the reason why it's one of my favorites. It represents the ultimate in the field of romantic adventure, a drama flavored with the fantastic, equipped with all the delights of dark intrigue, high-spirited adventurers, and beautiful princesses. Here, then, is The Prisoner of Zenda, starring Ronald Colman as Rudolph Rassendyll and Benita Hume as the Princess Flavia. Let Rudolph Rassendyll's own memoirs concerning his remarkable adventure speak for him. Rudolph Rassendyll was an English country squire who found himself on this fateful day toward the close of the past century, dozing beside his fishing rod in the forest of Zenda, kingdom of Ruritania. Slowly in his half-sleep, he became aware of someone standing over him, and then exclaiming in delighted amazement,
"Astonishing! Shave him, and he'd look like the king."
Let Rudolph Rassendyll's own account continue from there.
I awoke suddenly. A large, ruddy-faced man in hunting costume was staring down at me in amazement. He continued to watch me warily as I got to my feet. Then he spoke again.
"May I ask your name?"
"I'm Rudolph Rassendyll, traveling from England, and not so long ago in the service of Her Majesty the Queen."
"Rassendyll? Of course."
"You appear to know me or know of me."
"I am Colonel Sapt in the service of His Majesty Rudolph V, King of Ruritania. And you are Rudolph Rassendyll, the king's distant cousin."
"Yeah, that's true."
"I wouldn't have believed it."
"Oh, it's quite a fact."
"Oh, no. Your resemblance to the king." You could do it.
"Do what?"
"Shave.
"What?"
Pretend to be the king."
"Nonsense."
"King Rudolph is at this moment in his hunting lodge in these woods, drunk as usual, and I fear drugged by his enemies. If he isn't at his coronation tomorrow, his brother Michael will seize the throne. You must prevent that."
"Oh, it's unthinkable."
"A kingdom at stake and a throne in the balance."
"Nevertheless, my dear Colonel, I'm here on a fishing trip."
"Then Black Michael sits tomorrow on the throne, and the king lies in prison or his grave."
"Is it as bad as all that?"
"Believe me, Rassendyll."
Well, after all, it would be only for a day.
"And the next day, you'll be safely across the border."
"King for a day." Yeah, it'd be quite an adventure, wouldn't it?
Look now, all ye assembled here, upon our most puissant and liege lord, Rudolph V, undoubted king of this mighty realm. Receive, Rudolph, this scepter and this crown, wielded and worn
There
by
I
all our
was,
sovereigns,
accepting the crown and throne of Ruritania from the cardinal himself. There I was, king for a day, while the real king slept it off.
blessing and an increase of all virtues. God save the king.
There I was, anointed king of Ruritania, receiving court after my coronation, receiving particularly the lovely Princess Flavia kneeling before me, although before such serene loveliness I should have knelt.
I, Flavia, do become thy vassal, swearing to serve thee until death findeth me, so help me God.
I kissed her on both cheeks. Seemed quite the proper thing to do, and very pleasant too. And presently, the ceremony here was over, and I found myself in the royal carriage with the lovely Princess Flavia at my side. I thought everything went off very well, didn't you? I mean, for a coronation.
I must confess, Rudolph, you surprised us all today.
Surprised you, Flavia?
You arrived sober and really behaved like a king at last.
Yes, a new leaf and all that. By the way, I'm told I've rather neglected you lately.
2 picture postcards from Paris and the Riviera in 3 years. My fiancé. I've scarcely seen you.
Oh, I'm truly sorry.
If you hadn't appeared today for the coronation, the people would have demanded your abdication.
Yes, so I understand.
Your brother Michael was prepared to seize the throne.
Imagine that.
You know how he hates you and he wants to be the king. Better be careful of him. Him and that lieutenant of his, Rupert of Hentzau.
Why should you be concerned?
I am to be your bride, am I not?
Oh, are you?
Why, Rudolph?
I mean, am I worthy of the loveliest, most charming woman in Europe?
Oh, you used to call me that tow-headed little scarecrow.
Oh, I hope you slapped me.
I did. Don't you remember?
The old Rudolph wishes to forget and to be forgotten.
Black Michael, your brother, will not forget.
Oh, surely you're taking him too seriously.
You must realize how much your life means to your country.
Only my country?
And your friends.
Friends?
And to me, your loyal servant, Flavia.
Hentzau, what went wrong with our plans?
Easy there, my dear Michael. Easy.
I was the king at the coronation today. I told you to get him drunk, drug him in his lodge, keep him away.
I did.
Then how did the king get out of the lodge?
You've heard of a Britisher named Rassendyll?
Rassendyll? The king's distant cousin?
And your own?
Just what are you trying to say?
Simply, my dear Michael, that Rassendyll, and not the king, was crowned in the cathedral this morning.
No.
But yes.
You know, there was something strange about the fellow. But where is the king now?
I moved him to a safer place, Castle Zenda.
Is he safe there?
Well, it's damp in the dungeon. It could be made damper. Perhaps 8 or 9 feet of dampness.
And let the English impostor reign all his life? No.
I hadn't thought of that.
But if the Englishman dies first and is buried as the king...
You would mount to the throne.
And you would be next to the throne.
Your Highness shows me the path to my patriotic duty. The impostor must die. Any shrewd ideas?
Somehow we must lure him to Castle Zenda. How?
Perhaps a forged note from the king.
No, not from the king. Rassendyll is no fool.
Michael, are you in there?
Antoinette, of course. Hentzau, there are times when we need the ladies, even in affairs of state. She will write the note.
Michael, darling.
Come in, Antoinette. Come in.
Your Majesty. Your Majesty.
Come in, Colonel Zapt.
Rassendyll, I'm worried.
Why, what's the matter? And where have you been? I've missed you.
I've been back to Zenda Lodge to see if the king is sober enough to take over his responsibilities tomorrow.
Well, is he?
He's gone.
Yes, he was pretty far gone when I saw him.
Oh, I mean gone, vanished, disappeared.
No.
And his servant, dead.
Dead?
Murdered.
Impossible. Duke Michael?
No. Black Michael's been in the capital all day. But his swordsman, Rupert of Hentzau, has been absent. They know you're an imposter.
Yes.
We're in deadly danger, man.
Well, they can't denounce us without confessing to kidnapping the real king and murdering his servant. Oh, but they may kill the king.
And leave you on the throne?
Oh, they wouldn't dare. If they do that, they're finished. Besides, I can't carry on this masquerade any longer.
And let Michael become regent and marry Flavia?
Flavia marry Michael? She'd never do that.
As princess of the royal house, she'd have no choice.
Oh, you can't let that happen to her.
I can't prevent it. But you can. Speak to her tomorrow night at the ball.
Well, of course I'll speak to her.
Good fellow. She's been expecting your proposal.
Proposal?
What else?
I'll not propose to her tomorrow night or any other night.
You've got to carry this through now, Rassendyll. All the way.
Really, Rudolph? You needn't have brought me out into the garden just for a romantic gesture.
Ah, Flavia, if I could only make you understand.
In front of everyone, the Cardinal asks you when you plan to marry me, and you say, 6 months, more or less. How do you think I must have felt?
Flavia, perhaps I'm the sort of man who'd take advantage of many people, or even a whole country. But I could never willingly hurt you.
I don't understand a word you're saying.
Then, without understanding, please try to believe this. I love you.
Rudolph.
More than life or truth or honor, Flavia. I love you.
Oh, Rudolph. How is it that I love to hear you say that when I didn't even like you before? You're different.
Flavia, if I were different, and if I were not the king, could you love me?
Other women have loved men who were not king. I should be like other women.
Then I must tell you, Flavia, I am not, in fact...
Your Majesty.
Colonel Zapt.
His Eminence the Cardinal is waiting to take his leave.
Yes, thank you. Faithful, faithful Colonel Zapt.
Your romance progressed very well tonight, Rassendyll. You struck a good blow for the king.
And what's to prevent me from striking a blow for myself?
You're honor bound to play the king's part, lad.
I'm in love with a woman who loves me. Why should I ever leave the throne? Could you expose me? I could remain king and marry the princess.
You could do that, lad, but you wouldn't.
Then find the king. Find him before it's too late.
I may be able to do just that. Read this note. It was under the door when I came in. Read it.
If Mr. Rassendyll desires to know the whereabouts of the king, let him meet me tonight at 2:00 in the Royal Hunting Lodge in Zenda Wood. If he neglects this invitation, he may harm the Princess Flavia. Oh, it's an obvious trap.
Read on.
If Mr. Rassendyll fears a trick, let him ask Colonel Zapt what woman would do most to prevent Duke Michael from becoming king and marrying the Princess Flavia. Signed, A.
Antoinette.
Who's Antoinette?
Frenchwoman madly in love with Michael. Don't ask me why. She'd definitely lose him if he became king.
Lose him to Flavia?
Definitely.
We'll meet Antoinette at Zenda Lodge tonight. But I must speak to Flavia first.
Boar hunting in Zenda Wood, Rudolph, again?
Are you offended with me, Flavia?
What right have I to be offended? Tonight, you made me feel every hour away from me was wasted. But boar hunting, that's a different thing.
Oh, do you think I want to go?
I'm sure you don't. It's the boars. They're simply pining for you to hunt them.
Perhaps the boars will hunt me, Flavia.
What?
Perhaps they'll catch me. You're not touched by that danger?
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, my darling, did you really think that I was leaving you to go boar hunting?
Then you're not going hunting?
Not for boar.
Then what are you going... Rudolph, it's Michael.
Well, there's something hatching in Zenda Wood.
Oh, you mustn't go. Send someone else.
What sort of a king would do that?
I'm sorry. You see, I've never been in love before.
Ah, that's better.
Oh, darling.
Princess.
You won't let Michael hurt you.
No, sweetheart.
Or Rupert of Hensau hurt you.
No, sweetheart.
Or keep you from me.
No, sweetheart.
And you'll come back.
Shan't a man come back to the loveliest lady in all the world? Now, let me go quickly. Turn away, darling. Don't look back. If I see your eyes, I might forget to be a king.
You are listening to the Screen Directors Guild production of The Prisoner of Zenda, starring Ronald Colman and Benita Hume, and introducing the director of the film, John Cromwell.
was early when Colonel Zapt and I arrived at Zenda Lodge. Rather too early for our rendezvous with Antoinette. Zapt drew the bar and opened the heavy walnut door. It was quite black inside, black as the pit and humid with danger.
Black as blasphemy in here.
What about lighting a lamp?
Never mind, gentlemen, about lighting a lamp.
Antoinette.
Oh, I am glad you came earlier than we had planned.
Oh, why?
Because you have been led into a trap.
I knew it.
Oh, I had to write that letter at Duke Michael's orders. 3 men are coming here to kill you.
Where is the king?
Oh, before I tell you, will you give me a word of honor that no harm will come to Michael?
If you tell us the truth, yes.
The king is in a dungeon in Michael's castle, Zenda.
That's what I wanted to know.
But wait. If the castle is openly attacked, the king will be instantly killed by his guards and no trace of his body ever found. The castle must be taken by craft and guile rather than by force.
How?
One of you must go for help. The other must get into the castle to lower the drawbridge for your men to cross when they arrive.
Yes, but how?
Swim the moat. Climb to my room where a light will be burning. Then I will show you the way.
How many men guarding the king?
2.
How many others in the castle to oppose us?
Tonight, only Michael and...
And who?
Rupert of Hensau.
Hensau. Oh, I despise the treacherous dog.
Oh, I fear and loathe him with my soul. He kills so willingly.
Can we trust you?
If Michael becomes king, I will lose him.
We can trust you.
Au revoir, Rassendel. Follow me in a few minutes.
Castle Zenda. A monster of a medieval fortress rotting slowly against the sky. The water in the moat looked as though it had stagnated there for centuries. Slimy things stirred within it, and the gases of decay bubbled slowly to the surface. I looked up and saw a light burning in a high window, Antoinette's window. I saw the drawbridge drawn up by its enormous chains. And then, with a shudder, I slipped into the water, armed only with a knife. I reached the other side. I began to climb. I climbed and clung to the sheer granite walls, scratching for a hold, making desperate hand traverses like a mountaineer. And then something happened that almost made me lose my hold. Antoinette! I scrambled up the wall, breaking my nails, slipping and scraping and gasping for breath. But at last I was there, on the sill of Antoinette's window. I dropped to the floor inside. Antoinette was crouched on the stone floor, her hair and clothing disheveled, and at her knees, a man who looked so much like me and the king that I knew he must be Black Michael, the king's brother, Antoinette's lover. Michael was dead.
Oh, no.
Antoinette, what's happened?
Oh, I told you he was a fiend. A fiend.
What happened?
Hensau came in when I was alone. He tried to make love to me. Michael came in. Before I could warn him, before Michael could draw his sword, Hensau ran him through, killed him.
Where did Hensau go?
To the parapet.
What parapet?
By the drawbridge, above the moat.
But I've got to cut the drawbridge ropes.
I tell you, he is there. The monster, the killer.
Well, then I must face him there. All I have is a knife.
Oh, no. Michael's sword. Take Michael's sword.
Oh, yes, of course. Of course. Let me try it. Excellent. Excellent.
Who's there? Anyone there? Who is it, I say? Guards? Antoinette! Answer!
Rassendyll.
Rassendyll, the play actor.
I swam the moat.
Surely not with a heavy sword.
Oh, just a knife.
A knife! Splendid.
Oh, you would fight with a sword against my knife.
Well, you may as well face it, Rudolph. I am not a gentleman, and it's inconvenient now for you to live. Therefore, en garde. Liar! You have a sword.
I borrowed Michael's.
And I thought you were a gentleman. Blake. Missed. Ah, I see your game now. Try to slash the bridge rope, will you? There. There. Oh, you're a clumsy fellow at this, aren't you?
Well, I do my best.
Ha!
Break.
Why won't you let me kill you quietly?
Why let you kill me at all?
Amateur. Break.
No, listen. My horsemen are below, Hensau.
They'll never cross the moat.
Only that rope stands between us and success.
You'll never cut the rope.
We'll see. Break.
Break.
And the rope.
You dog!
Success.
Success! Zap! You'll die for that. I was a fool to prolong this.
Good work there, Rassendyll. Good work.
You'll die.
Touche, Hensau. My side.
Goodbye, Rassendyll. Oh, clumsy fool.
Sorry. Beginner's luck, you know.
Play actor.
Rassendyll.
Here, Zapped.
Good man, you killed the swine. But you're wounded.
Oh, never mind that. You know where the dungeons are. Go to your king. My work's over.
Rassendyll.
Your Majesty.
Come in.
At your service, sire.
You could not have served me better, cousin. I know what you've done for my country and for me. Tell the Princess Flavia that you have taught me how to be a king and that I shall not forget. She is waiting for you in the drawing room.
Rudolph.
Flavia, they've told you?
That you're not the king? Yes. But you're hurt. They never told me that.
My only hurt is the thought of the pain I've caused you. Flavia, from the first moment I saw you in the cathedral, I've loved you with all my heart and soul. But forgive me.
It would have made no difference if I'd known. It was always you, never the king. Oh, Rudolph, what are we to do now?
Oh, I must go away tonight.
No, not tonight.
I must, before people have seen me. Flavia, come with me.
Oh, if I could. If only I could.
Oh, why not? I love you.
But, Rudolph, help me. Is love the only thing? If love were all, I could follow you in rags to the world's end. If love were all, you would have left the king to die in his cell. Honor binds a woman too, Rudolph. My honor lies in keeping faith with my country and with my house. I don't know why God has let me love you, but I know that I must stay.
I think God shows his purposes to such as you.
Your heart will always be in my heart, and the touch of your lips on mine.
Your heart will always be in my heart, and the touch of your lips on mine. May God comfort you, my darling. Goodbye.
The NBC Theater has presented the Screen Directors Guild production of The Prisoner of Zenda, starring Ronald Colman and Benita Hume, and introducing the director of the film, John Cromwell. Next week, as every week, the NBC Theater brings you another great film drama, Night Has 1,000 Eyes, with its original team of screen director John Farrell and star Edward G. Robinson with William Demarest. And now, here again are tonight's stars, Ronald Colman and Benita Hume, and screen director John Cromwell.
Ronnie, it was wonderful to hear once again the clash of swords in the castle of Zenda, the strains of the waltz, and the undying romance of Rudolph and Flavia.
Yes, and to recall the happy days when we made the picture together, John.
By the way, your love scenes were as good as ever. How do you do it?
I like that. How does he do it?
Ah, there speaks my beautiful wife. Well, it's easy, John, with all the rehearsal we've had since we were married.
Oh, of course, I should have known. But as a director, Benita, what do you think of Ronnie's performance? Didn't you feel it was just a trifle, shall we say...
Well, I thought I detected a touch of,
This is mutiny.
Darling, I was only going to say a touch of the old maestro.
Ah, my princess. But, John, what did you think of Benita's Flavia?
Ah, delightful. I know you've done some fine work on the stage and screen, Benita, but how did you get your radio experience?
Oh, that's on account of the laundry.
Laundry? What on earth has that got to do with radio?
Well, I go on Jack Benny's show, and he does our laundry.
John, may I thank you and all the cast for their grand work tonight. Zenda was one of my favorite pictures, and I'm glad to have this opportunity of saying that a great part of its success was due to your splendid direction.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Good night, John. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
And good night to you, Ronald Colman, Benita Hume, and John Cromwell. Ronald Colman is currently starring in A Double Life, the picture which won him last year's Academy Award. Tonight's radio adaptation of The Prisoner of Zenda was based on David O. Selznick's dramatic production of the distinguished novel by Anthony Hope. The Prisoner of Zenda will soon be re-released along with several other David O. Selznick screen masterpieces. Listen again next week when the NBC Theater presents...
Screen Directors Guild assignment. Production, Night Has 1,000 Eyes. Director, John Farrell. Star, Edward G. Robinson.
The Screen Directors Guild program came to you from Hollywood. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
98. It's here now. New 98 Super Premium at the red, white, and blue Ingram sign. Power plus economy at your friendly Ingram oil dealers now. Here's a man that really appreciates that new Ingram power.
Take a tip from me, Carlin Hill up the Chicago Bears. I'm a professional practice saver, and the red, white, and blue Ingram disc is the best catch I ever made. You can get Ingram's new 98 Super Premium gasoline at your friendly Ingram dealers today. This is another forward step by Ingram, a company that is producing for the present and planning for the future. Remember, you get power plus economy when you fill your car with Ingram's new 98 Super Premium. Watch for the Ingram sign.
Get more gold for your dough with Ingram's new 98 Super Premium at the white Ingram pump with the red top. Get Ingram 98 Platinum Treated Gasoline at these friendly Ingram dealers.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
The Columbia Network takes pride in presenting Orson Welles in the first production of a unique new summer series by the Mercury Theater on the Air. In a single year, the first in the life of the Mercury Theater, Orson Welles has come to be the most famous name of our time in American drama. Says Collier's Magazine, 23-year-old Orson Welles threw a bombshell into Broadway. Robert Benchley writes in The New Yorker, the production of the Mercury is, I should say, just about perfect. Time Magazine declares, the brightest moon that has risen over Broadway in years.
Wells should feel at home in the sky, for the sky is the only limit which his ambitions recognize.
And finally, the United Press remarked,
Meteoric rise of Orson Welles' Mercury Theater continues unabated.
with 4 hit shows in its first year, the Mercury might well close its door on a season unparalleled in Broadway history. But Mr. Welles has long been working on a project for a greater audience, the Broadways of the entire United States. The Columbia Network is proud to give Orson Welles the opportunity to bring to the air those same qualities of vitality and imagination that have made him the most talked-of theatrical director in America today. And it is this project which Columbia brings you this summer, the first time in its history that radio has ever extended such an invitation to an entire theatrical institution. But here is Orson Welles himself to tell you about it. The director of the Mercury Theater, the star and producer of these programs, Orson Welles.
Good evening. We're starting off tonight with the best story of its kind ever written. You will find it in every representative library of classic English narratives. It is Bram Stoker's Dracula. The next time I speak to you, I am Dr. Arthur Seward. George Goulouris plays Jonathan Harker, and Martin Gable plays Dr. Van Helsing. It is Dr. Seward who tells the story, and so for the moment, goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you in Transylvania.
The Mercury Theater on the Air presents Orson Welles as Count Dracula in his own version of Bram Stoker's great novel, Dracula.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Arthur Seward. I'm here tonight to bear witness to the truth of certain events which you may find it hard to believe, but I ask you to believe them. I have here certain documents, telegrams, clippings from the press of the day, memoranda, and letters in various hands. All needless matters have been eliminated, so that a history almost at variance with the possibilities of contemporary belief may stand forth as simple fact. I present you first with excerpts from the private journal of Jonathan Harker.
I, Jonathan Harker, lawyer's clerk, article to Peter Hawkins, Esquire of Exeter, England, am writing this journal in the hope that if misfortune overtakes me, it may one day come to the eyes of those who love me. I set out from London on the last day of April to visit one of our clients in Eastern Europe. On May the 3rd, I arrived in Budapest and came after nightfall to Klausenburg on the borders of Transylvania. At Bistritz, there was a letter of welcome for me from our client, informing me that his carriage would await me at the Borgo Pass. It was signed, Dracula. There seemed to be some excitement among the passengers. They kept speaking to the driver and looking at me and urging him on to greater speed. The crazy coach rocked on its great leather strings. The mountains seemed to come nearer to us on either side. Coachman! Coachman! What is it? Where are we?
You're nearing your destination, young hare. This is the Borgo Pass.
There were black, rolling clouds overhead, and in the air the heavy, oppressive sense of thunder. Now, we were through the pass.
The young hare is not expected after all.
You are early tonight, my friend.
A caleche with 4 horses are drawn up beside us.
Let me help you, sir.
The coachman smiled, and the lamplight fell on a hard-looking mouth with very red lips and sharp-looking teeth as white as ivory. We began to move. I looked back. The coach and its load of passengers had vanished from sight. We swept into the darkness of the pass. I struck a match. It was within a few minutes of midnight. And then a dog began to howl somewhere far down the road. The wind was rising. It moaned and whistled through the rocks, and the branches of the trees clashed together as we swept along. It grew colder and colder still, and fine powdery snow began to fall. The baying of wolves sounded nearer and nearer, as though they were closing round us from every side. We kept on ascending, always ascending. The howling of wolves was growing less. Presently, it ceased altogether. And just then, the moon broke through the black clouds. I saw around us a ring of wolves running alongside the carriage. In silence, with white teeth and lolling red tongues, with long sinewy limbs and shaggy hair.
Welcome to my house.
I must have fallen asleep. The carriage had pulled up in the courtyard of a vast ruined castle. The coachman was nowhere to be seen.
Welcome to my house. Come freely, go safely, and leave something of the happiness you bring.
Count Dracula?
I am Dracula.
His face was strong, very strong, aquiline. The mouth, so far as I could see under the heavy mustache, was fixed and rather cruel looking, with peculiarly sharp white teeth.
You hear them, Mr. Harker?
The wolves?
The children of the night, as you say, Mr. Harker. The wolves. Listen. Come now. There are many things you must tell me tomorrow. Of England and of the estate there you have purchased for me.
Why, yes.
The estate is called Carfax, I believe.
Yes, that is so.
But now I will detain you no longer. You will find your room in readiness. And I advise you not to leave it during the night.
This castle is on the very edge of a terrible precipice. A stone falling from the window would fall 1,000 feet without touching anything. I explored. There are doors everywhere, and all of them locked. The door to the great hall, the door to the courtyard, every door in the castle is closed, bolted against me. The castle of Dracula is a prison, and I am a prisoner. The next night, I couldn't sleep. So after a few hours, I got up and, lighting my candle, I placed my shaving mirror on the dressing table and was just beginning to shave.
You seem restless, Mr. Harker.
I hadn't seen him, although the reflection of the glass covered the whole room behind me. I turned to the glass again. I could see him over my shoulder, but there was no reflection of him in the mirror. It was blank. I started and cut myself on the side of the throat. The blood was trickling down my neck. Count, my mirror!
The blood! The blood! Wipe the blood from your face, Mr. Harker. And take care how you cut yourself. It is more dangerous than you think in this country.
When I awoke, I found most of my things were gone. My passport, my notes, my letter of credit. I could find no trace of them anywhere. And my door is locked from the outside. June 20th. There is work of some kind going on in the castle. Now and then I hear the faraway muffled sound of mattock and spade. And last night, the second of the predated letters which Dracula made me write, the second of that series which is to blot out the very traces of my existence from the earth, went forth. Count Dracula.
Yes, my young friend.
Well, what of me? When am I free? When can I leave this place?
Free? Mr. Harker, you're always free. You want to leave? Would you like to leave tonight?
Yes, in God's name.
My dear young friend, not an hour shall you wait in my house against your will. Come, follow me. The door seems to be bolted. How strange. The door is locked.
Well, in God's name, open it.
As you will, Mr. Harker. You English have a proverb which is very close to my heart. Welcome the coming, speed the parting guest. Good night, Mr. Harker.
Shut the door! Shut the door! I tell you, shut the door! Shut!
The door is shut, Mr. Harker. I take it you will remain.
Morning, June the 30th. These may be the last words I ever write in this diary. Oh, God preserve my sanity. I have never seen Count Dracula by day. At sunrise, at the first cockcrow, he is gone. I do not understand these things. I only know that the wolves obey him, and that he is a man with hair on the palm of his hands, with sharp teeth, and no blood in his face. He casts no shadow. He cannot be seen in a glass. And he moves like a bat across the sheer face of the castle walls. He eats no food, and is mortally afraid of the crucifix. As I write this, I hear in the courtyard the rolling of heavy wheels and the cracking of whips. And there is in the passageway below a sound of heavy boxes being set down. Boxes shaped like coffins. And I know what they hold. The boxes are filled with holy earth from the chapel beneath the castle. It is the last box being nailed down. And now I hear the heavy feet tramping again. The door shut. The chains rattle. In the courtyard and down the rocky way, the roll of heavy wheels, the crack of whips. Help! 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 The wagons have gone. I'm alone in the castle. I'm alone in the castle. I'm alone in the castle. I'm alone. I'm alone. I'm alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Seward. Mr. Harker's journal terminates at this point. I now present in evidence a clipping dated August 8th of that year from the Yorkshire Telegraph from our correspondent in Whitby. One of the greatest and suddenest storms on record was experienced here today. The weather has been somewhat sultry, but Saturday evening was fine. The band was playing. The piers were crowded with holidaymakers. The wind fell away entirely during the evening, and there was a dead calm. There were but few lights at sea. The only sail noticeable was a foreign schooner under full canvas, which was seemingly going westward. A little after midnight came a strange sound from over the sea, and high overhead the air began to carry a strange, faint, hollow booming. Then, without warning, the tempest broke. And there, with all sails set, was the foreign schooner rushing with terrific speed toward the shore. A searchlight was turned on her. And there, lashed to the helm, was a corpse, with drooping head which swayed horribly to and fro at each motion of the ship. A moment later, she crashed. And then a strange thing was seen. At the very instant she touched, a huge dog sprang up on deck from below and, running forward, jumped from the bow onto the sand and, making straight up the east cliff toward the graveyard, vanished into the night. The Coast Guard, going aboard at dawn, found the dead man fastened to a spoke of the wheel. Tightly clutched in one hand was a crucifix. The man must have been dead for quite 2 days. In the pocket of the dead man's coat was found a bottle, carefully corked, containing a roll of paper. This proved to be an addendum to the ship's log. There was found on board only a small amount of cargo, and that of a most unusual nature. Apparently the ship carried nothing but earth. Common earth, packed away in wooden boxes, shaped much like coffins.
Of the Demeter, July 6th. Finished taking in cargo, a queer cargo, boxes of earth. At noon, set sail, east wind fresh. Crew, 4 hands, 2 mates, cook, and myself, captain, July 11th. Entered Bosporus. At dark, passed through Dardanelles.
Mate reported in morning that one of crew Valjoden was missing.
Took larboard watch 8 bells last night. He was relieved by Chile. Never came to his bunk.
Something aboard the ship.
No. Don't laugh, Captain. In the rain last night.
Oh?
A tall, thin man go up companionway and along the deck forward and disappeared. When I go to the bow, no one. And the hatchways all closed.
July 22nd. Rough weather last 3 days. All hands busy with sails. No time be frightened. Past Gibraltar and out through straits. All well, July 24th. Last night, another hand was lost. Disappeared.
By Chilicia. Leave all watch, midnight. Then we never see him again. Double watch now. I don't take watch alone no more. Double watch. Double watch.
July 29th. Had single watch tonight as crew too tired to double. When morning come... Hey! Hey, Milo! Banoisin! Banoisin! Is Banoisin below?
Banoisin's gone! Banoisin's gone like the others. Like all the others.
The mate and I have agreed to go armed henceforth, July 30th. Last night, we are nearing England. Weather fine. All sails set.
Captain! Captain! The man in the watch in the stairs was missing! Both missing!
Now, only self and mate and one hand left to work ship. August 3rd. 2 days of fog and not a sail sighted. At midnight, I went to relieve the man at wheel, and when I got to it, found no one there.
It's here! I know it now. I saw it. Like a man, tall and thin and ghastly pale. It was in the bows looking out. I gave it the knife, and my knife went through it.
What?
Empty as air.
What is it? What are you talking about?
It's here, and I'll find it. It's in the hold. In one of those boxes of earth. I'll unscrew them one by one and see. And see.
He is mad. Stark raving mad. It's no use my trying to stop him. He can't hurt those big boxes. They are invoiced as common earth.
I know the secret now. The sea will save me from him. That's all that's left. That's all that's left.
August 4th. I am all alone on my ship. And still the fog. I dared not go below. I dared not leave the helm. So here all night I stayed. And in the dimness of the night, I saw it. I saw him. God forgive me, but the mate was right to jump overboard. It was better to die like a sailor in the blue water. But I am captain, and I must not leave my ship. I shall tie my hands to the wheel when my strength begins to fail. And along with them I shall tie that which it dare not touch, my crucifix. I am growing weaker, and the night is coming on. God and the Blessed Virgin help a poor ignorant soul trying to do his duty.
Telegram, Seaward, Pursuit, to Van Helsing, Amsterdam. Lucy Westenra in alarming condition. Cannot diagnose. Come at once. Seward.
Telegram, Van Helsing, Amsterdam, to Stuart, Pursuit. I'm on my way to you. Please arrange the examination immediately my arrival, Van Helsing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I must now explain that 6 months before the events recorded here, I had become engaged to a young lady, Lucy Westenra. We were to have been married in the spring.
My old teacher, Professor Van Helsing, arrived at 4 the next afternoon. I took him at once to Lucy's house. She lay in a bed asleep. She was ghastly, chalkily pale. The red seemed to have gone even from her lips and gums, and the bones of her face stood out.
Young Miss is bad. Very bad. She must have blood or she will die. Yet she is not anemic. The qualitative analysis of her blood gives quite normal condition. It is strange. I do not like to think how strange. Look! My God, her throat, look!
The black velvet band that she always wore had dragged up a little and showed a red mark on her throat. Just over the external jugular vein were 2 punctures, not large, but not wholesome looking. The edges were white and worn looking. Well, what is it, Professor? What's wrong with her? Speak frankly, you can tell me the worst.
I wish I could, Stuart. I wish I could. But I do not dare.
Won't you tell me anything?
I will tell you this. Your young lady is in a danger greater than death. You must believe me. If you leave her for one moment and harm befalls, you will not sleep easy thereafter.
September 8th. I sat up all night with Lucy.
Arthur, I'm afraid.
Night, dear. You can sleep tonight. I'm here watching you. Nothing can happen. And I promise if any sign of bad dreams, if I see anything, I'll wake you at once.
Will you really? Then I'll sleep.
I sat all night by her bedside. She did not wake once during the night, although a boughs or a bat or something flapped almost angrily against the window panes. September 11th. Still quoting from my private journals. At this time that I received a message from Purfleet. Read 10:20 p.m. St. John's Hospital, serious complications, case 891, your immediate presence, London, imperative. I had no choice. Sometime later, a paper was found among Lucy Westenra's belongings.
I write this and leave it to be seen so that no one may by any chance get into trouble through me. I went to bed as usual, taking care that the window was closed, as Dr. Van Helsing had directed. About 2 in the morning, I awakened. I went to the door, called out, "Arthur! Arthur!" There was no answer. Something's broken the window. I'm in the room, alone. I dare not go out. The house seems empty. The air is full of specks, floating, circling in the draught from the window. The light burns blue, dim. What am I to do? Something very sweet and very bitter all around me. And I seem sinking into deep water.
You shall be flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood.
September 12th. Late. Only resolution and habit can let me make an entry tonight. We found her sprawled on the floor. There was a draft in the room from the broken window. Her throat was bare, showing the 2 wounds, looking horribly white and mangled.
We are too late, my friend. We have failed. God's will be done.
She is dying.
Yes. She is dying. Stay beside her. It will make much difference, mark me, whether she dies conscious or in her sleep.
It was late in the afternoon before she opened her eyes.
Arthur, oh my love, I'm so glad you've come.
I I took her hand and knelt beside her. Her breath came and went like a tired, peaceful child's. And then the light from the setting sun fell on her face, and then, insensibly, a strange change came over her. Her eyes grew suddenly dull and hard. Her breathing was heavy. The mouth opened, and the pale gums drawn back made the teeth look large and sharp.
Arthur, oh, my love, I'm so glad you've come. Kiss me. Bend down and kiss me.
Not for your life. Not for your living soul and hers. Lucy!
She's dead. Poor girl. There's peace for her at last. The end.
Not so. It is only the beginning. Wait and see.
The Westminster Gazette, September 25th. A Hempstead mystery. The Kensington Horror, the stabbing woman, and the woman in black are vividly recalled to mind by a series of events that have taken place recently in the neighborhood of Hempstead. Several cases have occurred of young children straying from home or failing to return from their playing on the heath. In all these cases, the children have given as their excuse that they have been with a beautiful lady who offered them chocolates. In each case, the child was found to be slightly torn or wounded in the throat. The wound seemed such as might be made by a rat or a small dog.
The Hempstead Horror. Another child injured by the beautiful lady. We have just received intelligence that another child missed last night was only discovered late in the morning. It has the same tiny wound in the throat. Well, Stuart, what do you think of that? You mean to tell me, my friend, that you still have no suspicion as to what poor Lucy died of? Nervous prostration, following great loss and waste of blood. And how was the blood lost or wasted? You are a clever man, my friend, and a good doctor. But you do not believe that there are things that you cannot understand. You are wrong, Stuart. Are you aware of all the mysteries of life and death? Can you tell me why in the pampas there are bats that come at night and open the veins of cattle and horses and suck dry those veins? How in some islands of the western seas there are bats which hang on trees all day, and then when the sailors sleep on deck because it is hot, flit down on them, and then in the morning are found dead men, as white as Miss Lucy was? I understand none of these things. Up to tonight, Stuart. If you dare to come with me, perhaps then you will understand. September 29th. Before dawn, now it is done. And I would sooner die 1,000 deaths than live again through what I did this night. We will spend the night, you and I, here in this churchyard where Miss Lucy is buried. We enter the tomb, then we open the coffin. You shall yet be convinced. Take care, Van Helsing. Miss Lucy is dead, is it not so? Then there can be no wrong to her. But if she is not dead, with some difficulty, we found the Westenra tomb. I took up my place behind a yew tree. On one side of the tomb, Van Helsing on the other. I was chilled and frightened. Suddenly, I saw something moving between two yew trees. A dim, white figure which held something at its breast. The figure stopped. I could not see the face, for it was bent down over what I saw to be a fair-haired child. There was a sharp little cry, such as a child gives in sleep, or a dog as it lies before the fire and dreams. Then the thing saw us. She drew back with an angry snarl. The lovely, blood-stained mouth grew to an open square. If ever a face meant death, I saw it at that moment. Then suddenly she turned and vanished in the direction of the tomb.
Child is not harmed. We leave him in a safe place where the police find him. There's more to do. Come.
Now we were in the tomb. Then in the coffin. The thing lay. Like a nightmare of Lucy, the pointed teeth, the blood-stained mouth. Van Helsing never looked up. From his bag he took out a book, his operating knives, a heavy hammer, and a round wooden stake, some 2 or 3 inches thick, sharpened to a fine point, and hardened over a fire.
Stewart! The life of this unhappy woman is just begun. Then she become what you call undead. There comes with the change the curse of immortality. She cannot die, but must go on age after age, adding new victims. Because all that die from the preying of the undead become themselves undead and prey on others. So the circle goes on, ever widening as the ripples from a stone thrown in the water. But if this lady, this undead, be made to rest as true dead, then the soul of the poor lady whom we love shall be again free.
Tell me, what am I to do?
Take this stake in your left hand, the hammer in your right.
Yes.
Place the point over the heart.
Yes.
Then, when I begin the prayer for the dead, in God's name strike. Are you ready? Now, Domine Jesu Christe, Fili de vivi, qui manus tuas ex voluntate Patri.
On the morning of July 11th, a man was found on the border of Transylvania. He talked wildly of wolves and boxes of earth and blood, and gave his name as Jonathan Harker. In the hospital of Klausenberg, he improved sufficiently to make possible his removal to England. I'm still quoting from my own personal papers. But there his condition remained so serious that he was committed for observation to a private ward in my hospital at Purfleet. Here he did so well that in 3 weeks he was completely recovered. It was during this time that his wife, Minna Harker, brought to the attention of Dr. Van Helsing and myself the journal that her husband had kept while a prisoner in the castle of a certain Count Dracula in Transylvania. I have before me the record of a meeting that took place in my study in Purfleet, transcribed by Minna Harker.
October 1st. Meeting began soon after 8. Jonathan next to me. Dr. Seward opposite to Van Helsing at the head of the table.
My friends, there are such things as vampires. Had I known at first what now I know, one so precious life had been spared to many of us who love her. The vampire which is amongst us is of himself so strong that he can direct all the elements. The storm, the fog, the thunder. He can command all the meaner things, the moth and bat, the owl and the fox and the wolf. How then are we to begin our strike to destroy him? How shall we find his place? And having found it, how can we destroy? My friends, it is a terrible task that we undertake. To fail here is not mere life or death. If we fail, we become as him. Foul things of the night as him. What do you say?
I answer for myself.
Count me in. I'm with you.
The professor laid a small golden crucifix on the table. We took hands and our solemn pact was made.
My friends, we too are not without strength. The vampire flourishes on the blood of the living. Without this, he cannot live. He throws no shadow. He makes no reflection in a mirror. He can transform himself to a wolf, to a bat. He can come on moonlight rays as elemental dust. He can see in the dark. He can do all these things. Yet he is not free. His power ceases at the coming of the day. Then, until night, he must remain in the shape in which he finds himself, and except in his coffin home, in those earth boxes he cannot rest. When we can confine him in his coffin, then, my friends, If we obey what we know, we will destroy him.
At that moment, something flapped wildly against the window, then...
Did you hit it? I don't know.
We looked out of the window. Against the black sky, we could see nothing.
Data on our position. From the Count's castle in Transylvania to Whitby came 50 boxes of earth. All of these, to our certain knowledge, were delivered at Carfax. Recently, 12 of these boxes have been removed. First step, ascertain whether all the rest remain in the deserted house next door or whether any more have been removed. We must trace each of these boxes and sterilize the earth with holy water so that he can no longer seek safety in it. And we must hurry.
The events of the next few days are described in Jonathan Harker's journal.
October 2nd, 5 a.m. Just returned from the empty house. Left Mina here at home. Well, we've done our work at Carfax. The place was filthy. The air stagnant and foul and alive with rats. We counted the boxes. Only 38 of them. And over each one, the professor went through his same mysterious work. It was dawn when we got back. I found Mina asleep. She looks paler than usual.
October 2nd. Soon after they left, I fell asleep. I remember hearing the sudden barking of the dogs. And then there was silence. I got up and looked out of the window. There was a thin streak of white mist moving across the grass along the wall of the house. It dawned on me that the air in the room was heavy and dank and cold. The gaslight came only like a tiny red spark through the fog. I could see through my eyelids. The mist grew thicker and thicker. Then, as I looked, the spark divided and seemed to shine on me through the fog like two red eyes.
You shall be flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood, blood of my blood.
October 2nd, 8 p.m. We're on the track. 12 boxes were delivered last week to an empty house at 347 Piccadilly. My dear friends, until the sun sets tonight, Dracula must retain whatever form he now has. We have this day to hunt out all his lairs and sterilize them. Then he will have no place where he can move and hide. But we have only until sunset.
The house in Piccadilly was empty. Like the one at Purfleet, the same sickening smell was in the air. On the table we found a clothes brush, a brush, and a comb, and a basin. The latter containing dirty water, which was reddened as if with blood.
The boxes are back here. 8, 9, 10, 11. Only 11. There's a 12th box somewhere. Gentlemen, it is after 6. The sun is setting. We've no time to lose. He will return at any moment. Open the boxes. Quiet. Listen. Be ready. It is he! The window!
You waste your bullets, gentlemen. You think you baffle me? You with your pale faces all in a row like sheep in a butcher's. You think you've left me without a place to rest. But I have more. And time is on my side. The one you love is mine already. I have known her. Already my mark is on her throat. Flesh of my flesh. Blood of my blood. She is with me always. Over land or sea.
We must find that last remaining box, gentlemen. We must find it. As long as that earth exists impure, as long as there remains one place of refuge for Dracula, there is no safety and no peace for any soul in England.
And for the undead, never peace so long as he lives. Blood of my blood, Blood of my blood.
Mina! How do you know that?
Quiet.
With me always, over land and sea.
Mina, darling, how did you know that Dracula said those...
I don't know. The words just came. Strange. There are times when somehow I feel that I'm with him.
At sunset?
Yes. Just at sunset. And again at sunrise. Dr. Van Helsing, if I could... If at that time you...
Have you the courage? Courage for what? What do you mean?
Dr. Van Helsing here will question me.
I will question her, yes. In a state of hypnosis. The one you love is already mine, he said. She is with me always, over land or sea. Count Dracula. Perhaps she will betray you if she is really with you, this one we love. Who knows? If she is really with you over land or sea.
Blood of my blood.
Mina.
Yes?
Answer me, Mina. Are you with him?
Yes, I am with him.
Where are you?
I do not know. It is all dark.
What do you hear?
The lapping of water. I can hear it on the outside.
Then you are on a ship?
Yes.
What else do you hear?
There is the creaking of an anchor chain.
What are you doing?
I'm still. Oh, so still. It is like death. It's like death.
Here's a report from Matson Peabody, shipbrokers. Dated October 5th, according to Lloyd's list, the only sailing ship that left for the Black Sea yesterday was the Tsarina Katrina, bound for Varna. Some hours before she sailed, a man came alongside, all in black, driving a cart with a great box in it. This he lifted down single-handed and carried below. No one remembers having seen him after that, as heavy mist came up over Doolittle Dock until sailing time. The rest of London Harbor remained completely clear.
Our plans are made. The average sailing time from London to the Black Sea is 3 weeks. We can travel overland to the same place in 3 days. We shall be there waiting for him when he arrives.
October 15th, arrived Varna about 5 o'clock. Mina seems stronger. Every morning before sunrise and just before sunset, she speaks to Van Helsing in a trance.
Are you with him, Mina? Tell me, are you with him?
I am with him.
What can you see?
Nothing. All is dark.
What can you hear?
I can hear the waves lapping against the ship and the water rushing by. The wind is high. I can hear it in the shrouds and the bow throws back the foam.
So, the Tsarina Katrina is still at sea, hastening on her way to Varna. The Count cannot cross running water, so he cannot leave the ship without being observed.
What do you hear, Mina?
Lapping waves and rushing water. Darkness. Darkness and wind.
A whole week of waiting. Daily telegrams from Lloyd's.
Not yet reported. Not yet reported.
Rushing water and creaking mast. Darkness. Darkness and wind.
October 24th. Telegram. Lloyd's, London to Harker. Tsarina Katrina reported this morning from Dardanelles. Lloyd's, London to Harker, October 28th.
Tsarina Katrina in heavy fog reported entering Galatz Harbor at 1 o'clock today.
Galatz is 38 hours from here, and the first train for Galatz leaves at 6:30 tomorrow morning. My friends, we have lost.
Evening. We are due between 2 and 3 in the morning, but already at Bucharest we are 3 hours late.
Captain Serena Katrina.
A man come aboard with an order an hour before sunup to receive a box for a party by the name of Dracula. Not his peppers, all right. Emmanuel Hildesheim, his name was.
Mr. Hildesheim?
Yes.
You unloaded the box yesterday.
I gave it to Kylov by order. Kylov.
Mr. Kylov?
I know. This morning they find him dead inside the churchyard of St. Peter. They find him dead with his throat torn open.
October 30th evening. There are two ways in which Dracula can get back to his own place. By land or by water.
We've examined the map and find the most likely river is the Serra.
You and I, Seward, will charter a steam launch and follow him up the river. Van Helsing and Mina will take the train to Veresti, and from there they will
From there we shall go in the track where Harker went, from District over to Borgo. If you have not caught him before, we shall be awaiting Dracula there.
Arrived at Veresti at noon, then Helsing and I. Bought a carriage here, and we start in an hour. Our enemy is still on the river.
October 31st. We can run at good speed up the river at night. There's plenty of water, and the banks are wide apart.
November 1st, evening. No news all day. We hear that a big boat went up the river before us, going at more than usual speed.
November 4th. All day driving. The country gets wilder as we go. By morning we shall reach the Borgo Pass.
November the 4th, evening. We've left the launch. We've got horses, and we follow on the track along the river. We are armed.
Look! Quick! There they are now! Heading west!
With the dawn, we could see the Slovaks some miles before us, dashing along the river with their wagons. On it is the great box.
We reached the Borgo Pass.
Van Helsing! Look! Look!
We could see a long way all around us. Far off, beyond the white waste of snow, was the river like a black ribbon curling. Between us and the river, not afar off, came a group of men, mounted Slovaks hurrying along. In the midst of them was a wagon which swept from side to side. On the wagon was a great box.
Look!
We see two horsemen following fast, coming up from the south. Now the horsemen are not more than a mile behind. Now the wagon is quite close to us. We can see the great box swaying crazily. Now they are almost upon us. Now has happened a strange thing. The wagon smashed into a great rock bed in the snow, lost its front wheels, and turned over on its side, jammed against the stone. The horses tore loose from their traces and bolted, and the Slovaks scatter and vanish after them. Then silence. Silence like comes after ringing a bell.
Look! His face!
It is Dracula, sprawled out stiff and twisted in the smear of his own holy earth. The box, in falling, has emptied the dirt onto the snow. His face is old-looking. The skin is like paper. Dr. Seward, there's no time. Look at the sun.
Sunset.
In 1 minute there is darkness and he is forever lost to us. Have you the stake of wood and the hammer?
Here.
Now, Seward, pray for us. Kneel down and pray. Harker, the stake of wood over his heart. Be not afraid, Harker. Do not look into his eyes. The hammer. Now, Harker, strike. Strike!
Flesh of my flesh. Guilt of my guilt. Death of my death. Speak and be manifest in the instant of your master's peril. Elements of darkness, rain, evil winds, mist, and mold, and tempest.
The others couldn't. But somehow I can hear him speaking behind his eyes.
Claw, wing, tooth, scale, tissue of flesh, death of my death, dead and undead. hand of the living is over your master. Console him, my children. This instant is no longer than the space between two heartbeats. But the night is not here, and I am lonely. Come to your master, my children. Beguile him now in the instant of his peril. Beguile him with the sound of your names. Claw, wing, tooth, scale, tissue of flesh.
Strike, Harker, strike!
There is one very dear to me who has not answered. My love, Mina. There is less than a minute between me and the night. You must speak for me. You must speak with my heart.
Give them to me! Jonathan, give them to me! They're stake of wood in the hammer! Arthur!
I shall never forget that moment. The look on poor Mina's face as she stood there, the angry scar standing out on her throat, her eyes like living coals in the last red of the sunset. She had torn the stake and the hammer out of my hands with the strength of an animal.
Mina, do you know what you've done, woman? You know what you've done to us? You've released him, the evilest fiend. Look!
The sun! As we looked down at Dracula, the eyes saw the sinking sun, and the hate in them turned to triumph.
Flesh of my flesh, come to me, my love. Come into the night and the darkness. You have served me well, my love. My bride,
Ladies and gentlemen, all the evidence in this case is now before you. I've added nothing, and to the best of my knowledge, I've omitted nothing that might help to throw light on the extraordinary events of the year 1891, which culminated on that terrible evening in the Borgo Pass. There remains only this one last report.
When Mina Harker seized the stake and hammer from her husband, I believe she was under some form of hypnosis. She herself remembers nothing. But whatever influence was at work on her, she must, at the last moment, have rejected it. For at the exact instant the sun disappeared, it was Mina Harker who drove the stake through the heart of the thing that called itself Dracula. At that same instant, even as we looked, the wound on the side of her throat was no more. As for Dracula, before the scream of the creature had died from our ears, the whole body crumbled into dust and passed from our sight. In the final moment of dissolution, there was in the face a look of peace, such as I never could have imagined might have rested there.
Tonight's production of Dracula by Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater was the first of 9 CBS broadcasts in which this brilliant group will bring to life a series of great narratives. In the cast tonight, Dr. Van Helsing was played by Martin Gable, Jonathan Harker by George Coulouris, Dr. Seward by Orson Welles, the Russian Captain by Ray Collins, the Mate by Carl Swenson, Mina Harker by Agnes Moorehead, Lucy Westenra by Elizabeth Farrer, and Count Dracula by Orson Welles. Bernard Herrmann composed the original music and conducted. Dan Seymour speaking.
Have been received with more universal satisfaction than Johnson's self-polishing glow coat, the floor polish that's saving so many hours of work every day for housewives everywhere. The reason for this satisfaction is the service glow coat gives, how easy it is to use, how beautiful it makes floors of all kinds, especially linoleum, how economical it is to use, and how it saves its cost many times over by making linoleum last so much longer. Glow coat is called self-polishing because it really does polish itself. It shines while it dries, needs no rubbing or buffing at all. You simply apply glow coat with a cloth or long-handled glow coat applier, then go on about your other work. In 20 minutes, come back to find your floor gleaming with a hard, beautiful polish. Spilled things are quickly wiped up with a damp cloth. And that's the Glow Coat story, which you can easily verify by trying it yourself on your own floors. Ask your dealer for Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.